NerdyNeo on the mic tells a story. Open mic, a world of digital glory. Talking quests and pixelated dreams. Gamers journey on the mainstream. Open mic with a gaming twist. Press start and raise your fist. From consoles old to new. Every game a brand new crew. Week by week a new guest appears. Sharing love for gaming through the years. Button mashing tales of late night kills. Level up, adrenaline thrill. Open mic with a gaming twist. Press start and raise your fist. From consoles old to new. Every game a brand new crew. From pixel art to high-def screens. Open worlds and cutscenes. These questions deep they go. Discovering every game in tow.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the first real open mic in a very long time. I was just looking at my schedule to see when the last proper open mic was, and it was at the end of August. So it's been a while. I'm bringing it back. I've got the schedule booked all the way through April. I've got a bunch of people lined up, so I'm looking forward to getting back to this and to kick it off, because I did have one solo open mic in January, but it was just a solo. I didn't have a guest on. That's kind of the idea of this show. So good to be back. And I got a guest who was on, made his channel debut last week for Top 5 Puzzle Games. Got John Connors here. What's up, John? Thanks for joining me tonight.
Hey, doing all right. Glad to be here. Ready to talk about a bunch of gaming stuff, because wow, it was a nice day today for at least for the Sony ponies. They got a lot good. They eating well today.
So we'll get to that in just a moment. So, but thanks for joining me and helping me bring back open mic with a bang. And so, John Connors, is that because you're a fan of Terminator?
Everybody goes to that. Instantly, it is. Well, because the first thing anybody thinks Connors, everybody thinks John Connor.
Right.
But unfortunately, no, it's not. It's a
okay.
The first John is actually my middle name.
Oh,
so I just grabbed that. And Connors is actually an old tie to back in my old gaming clan days, back when I was part of a specific particular clan called Clan Wolf International for Mech Warrior Online.
Oh, Mech Warrior. I didn't play that online, but I did play, I was a fan of Mech Warrior 4.
December of 2013 to August of 2016, that was my entire gaming life, was all Mech Warrior Online with the clan, playing that. It was a semi-RP clan, and so a little bit of the Mech Warrior BattleTech lore. They have there's with the clans, there's the superhuman beings from outside of the galaxy. They have this house system called blood houses, where the most powerful, the most revered, the most effective in combat, who have proven themselves in the trials, take on those names and honor their forefathers. And that was the one I chose back in the clan days, was Connors. Because it was I went look around looking at stories and stuff of the particular individuals who became, bloodhouse names like Connors. And with this character, Santiago Connors, he was just a regular old soldier, a trooper, just a mech warrior amongst them like any others. And what happened was that another clan had started a coup and tried to assassinate the leadership. And because of his sacrifice, which took down multiple mechs along just by himself, earned himself that to become a bloodhouse. Connors, his genetic coding was preserved by the clans, and now is used to create new generations of clans. It is a big BattleTech is a huge part of my childhood, so it's like I can just go off on that, acting like everybody knows my shop talk about it.
So that is actually in BattleTech lore. That's not something that you made up for your character.
Yeah, Connors is a deep lore cut from BattleTech.
Okay.
And I just stuck with it, and going on to YouTube and chatting with folks and using this as my YouTube name. it just stuck. So I just kept it.
Okay. So I know you also go by Jono, right?
Yeah, that was coined by Mazza, and
Okay.
because he got one day he had somebody named John 942163 come into his chat, and he's like, "What? You're not John. You're not John. Know what? I'm gonna call you Jono," and that
Stuck.
just stuck. You know, everybody's happy with it, so I'm Jono on the over with the Gronks.
Okay. So, but you prefer John Connors then, it sounds
I
like.
I kind of answer to both at this point.
Okay. That's kind of like me. My dad's name in real, my real life, my dad's name is me and my dad have similar names. So a lot of times people who knew my dad would call me my dad's name, and I just got used to answering to his name.
I got you
So
on
I know
that.
what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So, cool. So with Mech Warrior, so the only Mech Warrior I actually played was Mech Warrior 4, and I also got the expansion. I think it was called Black Knight. That was a lot of fun. I've never played online, and what you're talking about, was that a specific game or was it
Yes.
a number of games?
It was a specific game that was first picked. It was well, what happened was that after Mech Warrior 4, there really wasn't any Mech Warrior games. The IP
Yeah, it was a
wasn't
big
selling, and
gap till Mech Warrior 5 a few years
pro-
ago.
the real problem with it was because Microsoft sat on it and did fuck all with it, did nothing with it. So what happened? What happened was is that a company up in Canada here, Piranha Games, made a deal with Microsoft to start making a online game to start getting into that market. So Piranha Games, along working with Microsoft, created MechWarrior Online, and
Okay.
that had like hurdles and a half. If you don't know the story of BattleTech versus Macross, BattleTech versus Harmony Gold, there's this huge IP war that went on between them, and it is still haunting them to this day. Uh, like I said, I could, when it comes to like MechWarrior stuff, I could talk like as if like everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, even though I played it, I mean, that was, how
Yeah, it
long
was,
ago was Mech Warrior 4 come out? 20
oh,
years ago,
yeah,
probably?
early 2000s, if no 2001, if I remember right. Yeah, it
So
was
it's,
like at the turn of the century.
oh my goodness, can't
But
believe
yeah,
that
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 was
game
it.
is
With
25 years old.
And yeah, they were the ones that wanted to pick up the game and start creating it. Basically rekindle the franchise through online play, and that was for me. I had a huge blast when that came out.
2002.
There we go. Yeah.
Jeez. Can't believe it was
Yeah.
that long ago.
So, and that was 2000. Yeah, 11 years later, they bring out MechWarrior Online. It didn't have. It was from a completely different company, Microsoft IP owned, but they did a decent job enough. And it just had me hooked. Alongside, it was the first time discovering, being actually a part of a gaming clan online, meeting people from all around the world, and working together with them, coordinating to actually get victories and become a reputable clan in there. It was great. And once the game actually stopped being just arena PvP Slayer kind of fights, they brought in this community warfare, which is basically like if you've ever played Battlefront 2's conquest mode, it's the best way I can like explain it to people, the simplicity of it, where it's like your factions online, everybody, or Planet Side 2. That's another good game to compare it to, where your factions are warring against each other, trying to take over territories, win or lose. You gain a spot, move onward, and
Okay.
that was like the game needed it. And but unfortunately, that's the thing with Piranha Games. There were so many of these moments where updates and things that they decided to do that were just completely like ruin the game for a lot of us folks.
Oh, bummer. That sucks
Yeah,
when that
with like
happened.
like for the community warfare stuff, it was the maps that were a real issue. They tried to have some variety, but because they had such a hard locked baseline of how the game mode played, it really confined them from being, giving variety to maps, which it just made everything feel the same at a certain point.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Really quick, I just want to say hi to
Mm.
Crazy Landlow. What's up, Crazy Landlow? How's it going? You are not late. We just got started literally about 5 minutes ago. So welcome.
You're good, buddy.
So did you have a main mech that you would use? Like, how like in fighting games, people have like their main character. Do you have a main mech?
Yeah, I had a main mech. It depends on which clan or inner sphere. IS or the clan. With the clan, I was a clanner. For me, both thick and through, the clans were all I was about because of Mech Warrior 2 back in the day. Clan Wolf, Clan Jade Falcon. I'm a Wolf guy, 100%. With that being said, Mine was basic bitch. I'm a Timberwolf fan. Mad Cat for the IS guys. That is yeah, Timberwolf. 75 tons of fun. The perfect balance of firepower and mobility. I had a huge blast. You can customize that. But when it comes to the inner sphere, my all-time favorite would have to be Kerensky's all-time favorite. That would be the Orion. Orion,
Okay.
particularly the Orion 1K variant. That had particular placements for weaponry that gave me my favorite balance. One big fucking AC-20 cannon, nice rack of short range missiles with 4 medium pulse lasers. It was dominant on the arena when it did Zellbriggen or any sort of PV. Oh, I should explain Zellbriggen. That'd be honor duels, fights like that. We
Okay.
would pretty much we go into an arena of equals. Most of the time when that happened, we would be hosting trials of position. Newcomers who spent their 2-3 months as a cadet, spending time with the clan. We know he's good. We want him to be a part of the clan, so he takes his trial after that. During the trial, they have their duel. With that trial, they I could just go, I'm going all over the place with this.
It
Yeah,
sounds like this clan was like super serious.
Super serious. Well, I wouldn't say super serious, but they were serious semi RP. Where everything we would basically reenact things as if we would best know them through the books, through the lore and such.
That's
and
awesome.
Also the terminology from the lore came into play as well. It was really useful for combat too, because when you're trying to say like yes, no, left, right, it really shortened it. Go to G4, AF, go to G7, neg, can't do it. Affirmative and negative, just little short and hyphen, small little things like that. It just it was fun. It was all like you're role playing playing in a clan amongst a clan. You have such a if you love the IP, you love the guys you're going. It is like you're on cloud 9. Honest to God.
That sounds like it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, and I also see that dude rated the stream over on Rumble. Thank you, dude. I know
Hey, appreciate it.
He's been playing Ninja Gaiden 2, which is one of my favorite games. But one of the chapters that he played, I think yesterday, is like one of the worst chapters ever played in a game. So I didn't catch that part of his stream, but appreciate it, dude, as always. And I was there most of the stream, and I think he made it through the Zidonius fight near the end, I think. So, but good to see you, dude. So, okay. So, like the Mad Cat, I remember the Mad Cat because that was like the face of Mech Warrior 2.
Yep, you got heck. It's the whole face of Mech Warrior,
all the franchise.
Pretty much, yeah. It's such an iconic vehicle.
And then I think the one you start out with in Mech Warrior 4 was the Shadow Cat. That's pretty light mech, but
45 ton or a medium. Yep.
The one that I ended up playing most of the game as, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it was the Dashi. It was
Daishi.
Daishi.
That's the inner sphere name. It is known as the dire wolf amongst the clans. It is 100 tons of fun. Just pack in everything you want into it there, and you got all kinds of space. You pack it just it's just the massive wall of firepower that thing can throw at you.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, you're a turtle. You're sitting duck for a lot.
It's so slow, but it has so much armor and so much weapons. I was like, I'll deal with it because at least what I gathered from like the cutscenes of the game, like the Atlas is because at least I don't know if this expands to the other games, but in Mech Warrior 4, at least the max weight of a mech was 100 tons, and the Atlas was the one that everyone's like, oh my goodness, the Atlas is like the end all be all of mechs to be afraid of. It's like the weapon loadout on the Atlas was very did not live up to its reputation, but the Daishi, though, you could load it with so much more weapons. So it was, in my opinion, that's the one that people should have been afraid of, not the Atlas.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's the thing that they did right. Mech Warrior 4, they did right. They had a proper balancing of the clan and inner sphere stuff, which is great. That's the balance. It's a balance difference when it comes to clan mechs. They're advanced in technology. When it comes to the IS stuff, it's a little further back. So their technology is going to be a lot more effective. Instead of having regular heat sinks like everybody normally does in the inner sphere, they have double heat sinks. Same size, just double the effectiveness. and amongst many other things like that. And that's what really made the direwolf like far superior compared to the Atlas, even though they're both at 100 tons.
Right.
But yeah, normally it is 100 tons at the maximum, but later on there are like in the lore and extended, there are known as super heavy mechs, which is anything that basically goes from 100 to 150 tons. At that
Okay.
point, you stop becoming a real mech, and then you start becoming just a weapon, a machine, a weapon machine, weapons platform.
Weapons
That's it.
platform, yeah. So,
Yeah, those that thing, that the Atlas is just as iconic as the Timberwolf. It is lore wise, it was designed by the grandfather of the clans, Nicholas Kerensky, from back way back in the day before the clans existed, when he was an actual like the hero of the Inner Sphere. He needed a weapons platform, a mech that was 100 tons, can actually like bust through walls, destroy everything in its path, and have a nice balance to it as well. And that's what he created, was the the Atlas. It is a beautiful, iconic mech, and it has had so many different looks to it. Because when you look at the Mech Assault and all the other iterations as well, it's seen some amongst many other the mechs. But that's also kind of rings back to the intellectual property issue mentioned earlier between Harmony Gold and BattleTech. They had to skirt around that stuff because originally BattleTech was all about had a lot of content from Harmony Gold Macross tabletop stuff. They
okay.
brought in over like if I remember correctly, the Archer. It's everybody will recognize it if they've watched the Macross show movies or the
I've
TV
heard
shows.
of Macross. I don't know anything
Oh,
about it though.
there's it's Robotech. That's it.
I know
Robotech
of
TV
Robotech as
anime.
well.
Yeah, a lot of particular mechs in that one. Those are actually like a BattleTech ripped them right off from it, and it caused
Okay.
yeah, it was it. It was a huge IP scandal, all through courts and stuff, and they weren't allowed to use it. And yeah, since then they've been trying to get around it. It's worked, so fortunately, and now at this point, it's kind of like it's now settled. But
Okay.
back when MechWarrior Online was still releasing new mechs and stuff, that was still an issue. Had Harmony Gold hanging over their heads. Oh, well, it's looking really way too similar to mine. Oh, gonna have to change that. That was a real pain in the butt for some things, but I will give them that.
Understandable.
Yeah, the Piranha Games guys did a good job at getting around it. Yeah, that's
So, with it was Inner Sphere, and what was the other?
the clans.
The clans. So they're kind of like enemies of each other. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, it's a bit of a story, bit of a history. You got the whole galaxy called the Inner Sphere, basically our Milky Way galaxy, and with that there were five noble houses, and under that, all of them above them was basically the king, and that was I'm not going to get into the details of the names and everything because that'd be too much. But basically, what happened was that there was a bit of an assassination of the king happened after a big war went out between the outsiders, rebels, and the Inner Sphere. The After that assassination attempt, the king had no sons, no heirs, nobody to pass on. So it basically fell on to the five houses to decide who was going to be king. And five noble houses, prestigious noble houses, they all want the crown. None of them are going to allow the others to take that crown. So the great general, the one who was the hero of the war, the hero of the Inner Sphere, the guy I mentioned, Kerensky himself,
Okay.
he basically said, "Fuck this! You guys are about to start a war between each other. Anybody amongst the military who wants to get out of this, follow me, and we will leave and we will create a new society." And that's exactly what they did. Left the entire Milky Way galaxy, and
Okay. Went to
meanwhile
another
the five.
galaxy.
That's it. It left the entire galaxy. So that
And they
allowed
formed
the five.
clans.
That's it. Eventually, it took about 200 to 300 years to get to the high point that we all know and love about them. But yeah, eventually it got there. A lot of originally it didn't start out well. It kind of like he had his own thing and it fell apart. But when his son picked up the pieces. It's two sons, if I remember right, but that's details. Picked up the pieces from that and started creating what we know as the clans. it's not really of Kerensky's dream, but it was a it was truly a manifestation of what he wanted.
Okay.
It's like watching a leader create a society and then having his followers try to lead after. You're not going to get the same results as you would if that guy was still around.
Right.
So that's kind of what happened. His sons started to deify him, their father, as a like kind of like a god, essentially, and
Okay.
that that kind of like shook the clans up, changed them, created this for. They began to recognize that artificial wombs, genetic creations, basically artificially creating children through the genes of different great warriors creates better warriors, and that's kind of what they did the whole time,
Mm.
building up their troops, building up their warriors, and through that it was a lot of I'm getting into the whole intersocial politics of this clan
I
stuff,
had
man, and I don't even know where to fucking get started with because almost nothing about it to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I played MechWarrior 4, that was it, and
Yeah.
I had no idea the lore went, like, this deep,
Oh,
so
it is
it's
deep.
great that you're a big fan of it.
There is no it is by no diminishment of the value that BattleTech is truly the Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones existed. The
Okay.
amount of politics, the century, it's got 3 to 4 centuries worth, like, oh, we're talking about today, 5 to 6 centuries worth of politics and events that have gone on that have shaped what everybody loves to know. Everybody knows the 3050 area, 3050, 3070 area. That was MechWarrior 4, MechWarrior 3. Those are all the big game. That everybody knows. That's the little piece of history. That's basically like 300 after, basically like the Game of Thrones show. Same
Okay.
thing. With that, but once you open up, you see that it's like centuries and centuries of history, and it's all kinds of stuff. Everything makes sense. Everything flows together right, and everything is understandable, especially when it comes to the geopolitical issues that go on, intergalactic political issues. It is amazing. But yeah, I'd say I could continue going on and on and on about MechWarrior. It's been as early as I can remember. I've been a fan of MechWarrior. 2-3 years old, watching the TV show that originally came out back in the early 90s, 93, 94. It
A
was
MechWarrior show?
yeah, there was a TV show back then. It called BattleTech. It
Oh,
was
okay.
it was
Yeah,
a
I never saw it, but I knew of it,
yeah, you can
so
find the entire series completely free on YouTube at the moment.
nice.
And it was a great show. I enjoyed it, but unfortunately, because it was very mature for a kids show. The CGI was it was expensive at the time. It was a lot, and also with the show, and they weren't sure about like the popularity of the IP, so they canceled the show.
Ah, bummer.
Damn shame. And that, but fortunately, they kind of like the original creators, those who own the IP, they took the TV show and put it into the lore of BattleTech. Basically, turned that into, all right. Well, it's a dud, so we'll just call it a propaganda TV show. We'll make the main villain that's a really big bad guy, which is he's one of the coolest bad guys that you'll ever see in a TV show. Nikolai Malthus, Star Colonel Nikolai Malthus of the Jade Falcon clan. Coolest fucking villain that any kid would see back in the day, man. You just watch the first episode and what the way he acts, the way he presents himself, that is like top tier villain right there. But yeah, with that in the lore, in the real lore, he's just a scrub. He's just some guy. He's a schmuck. And
So they've really talked him up in the show, essentially.
yeah, that's it. They downplay him in the real lore. And he hates the fact that this show exists. He hates everything about it. He's like, they just grabbed him out of buck fucking nowhere. But sorry. Yeah.
That's great.
It was great. And he just he had a miserable career as a warrior, and he just got sent to the retirement company, the Solama cluster. That's what we called him. And he's just insignificant. It was a far cry from his his amazing presence as a character in the BattleTech show.
Okay. So one of the things I was going to ask about when I brought up the inner sphere versus the clans, are there certain mechs that only like this clan or this faction will only use these mechs and this faction will only use these mechs, or do just all the factions use all the mechs? Is it kind of
Roughly,
like
it's rough because everybody's able to grab, or stealing, stealing and robbing your enemies is always a factor at play. So even though yes, there are many mechs like in regards to like the House Kurita, which is basically the Bushido Japanese culture. They they specifically use mostly dragons, which are a lot. You'll find that a couple of their mechs that they make, they are associated with the noble house that they make. Like the what is Hatsumoto is one of the mech names, which is like Japanese straight up. So but yeah, the most like for that, Kurita would be the most common one is a dragon that they use, which is a 60 tonner. It's barely qualifies as a heavy mech, but it does its job.
okay, but
Uh,
so
yeah,
they
there are
try
many,
to,
many.
but they'll also try to salvage whatever they can of their defeated enemies' mechs and incorporate those into their ranks as well.
Yeah, when it
Okay.
comes, yeah, when it comes to the inner sphere, they absolutely do that. When after 300, 400 years of war of succession wars, on who's going to be king, there's technology is lost. Some things just can't be made anymore. They just need to be salvaged and just like jerry rigged for it to function.
Okay.
That being said, to the major houses, the governments, they definitely keep their stuff well stocked. So people are definitely grabbing from that, and they're going to be salvaging from the battlefield as well. And that has created, you know, a huge like stockpile for any salvagers or any mercenaries who need equipment or need gear for their mechs. They just salvage that, scrap it up from the battlefields, and off they go. And that was that became a major factor too. The fact that a lot of these they all these five noble houses, they got to keep their treaties, they got to respect their laws and stuff, so they do a lot of this privateering stuff, which where the mercenaries come in. Mech Warrior 4 mercenaries.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. That's the subtitle of MechWarrior 4 was mercenaries.
Yep, when it comes to mercs, it is.
So in that game, you are a mercenary that just fights for whoever pays you, essentially.
Yep, whoever pays you the most or whoever you wish to fight for.
Do you remember in the campaign who it is that you work for?
You worked for a few folks, if I remember correctly. You do work for House Steiner. You have times working for House Davian. You do work at later in the game. There is a path that you can start working for the clans. Eventually, get to the ending where you take a trial of position and become a clan member. Then there's another one of the endings of MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, the Davian path. If I remember correctly, you become a you fight for House Davion, you work for them, and you retire as you basically get hired for the rest of your time as a mercenary to guard the royal palace. So it's like basically you get a cushy job for the rest of your life, well paid and all good. Yeah, that's a huge fact. Yeah, it's a huge factor, the mercenaries in that, and that's why they're such a prominence in the games as well. Yeah, it's a huge galactic war where everybody is trying to keep themselves and try to continue their war of attrition against one another. So everybody, even though there is going to be some that are considered like Kurita exclusive, they're not really exclusive, but mass production of them, that's going to be exclusive to particular houses, or unless like per se one of the noble houses takes over a planet that has the mech factory with the blueprints needed to make that, because it's not that it gets a little complicated with that, because the mechs are made. It's not like you can slap a blueprint onto any mech factory and they can make it. The factories are really specifically built to create these machines in the pristine condition that everybody expects them to come out in. It gets wild, and with BattleTech lore, it just they covered all their bases. They've really hammered down like all the minutia details on like how the governments function, interactions between one another, and how that all the geopolitics has developed in the galaxy. It's
it suffices to say it's deep lore.
Deep as the ocean. Yep, absolutely.
Sounds
like it.
That's
The
awesome.
best way I can compare it to would be Game of Thrones and looking at all the lore that was built around the show that everybody knows and loves, and the books as well.
Yeah, I never saw the show, but I know that the lore is quite expansive. So, and Nightmare's showing up in chat saying evening, guys. Good evening, Nightmare.
Cheers, buddy.
Good to see you. So, the last thing I wanted to ask about while we're on this topic is it looked like it was fun, but I never bothered playing it because I liked Mech Warrior, but the Mech Assault games were more arcadey and you couldn't customize your mechs, which is why I like the Mech Warriors better. It's almost like the best way I could kind of describe the difference between Mech Warrior was to Forza Motorsport as Mech Assault was to Forza Horizon.
That's a good way to put it.
So they're still the same franchises, but they have completely different tones. So it looked fun, but I never ended up playing it. Did you play either of the Mech Assault games? And if you did, what did you think of them?
Obsessively, I own 2 copies of Mech Assault 2 because my first copy got damaged beyond repair, beyond I couldn't play it anymore, so I had to buy it.
It
The
got
only other
foobarred.
game, yeah, it got foobarred. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the only other games I had that happened to me like that was having to get a second and third copy of Halo 2. But yeah, you are right on that. It's Microsoft wanted. That was around the time Microsoft got the IP, late 90s, if I remember right, early 2000s, and they wanted to have that. They wanted to have a Mech Warrior game on their console on Xbox, and so so they made up Mech Assault. It was because it's console. They had to dumb it down, bring it down to a just strictly playing in the mech, third person, bit of an arcadey shooter, and all of the story is non-canon. So
Okay.
it's really like just this little spin-off thing that Microsoft wanted to use the IP, have games for it, and it was one of the Mech Assault was one of the launch. It wasn't a launch game because development, but the Xbox Live,
Yes.
that was its launch. That's what it was launching for.
Yeah, it was one of those big original Xbox Live games that, and most people think of Halo 2 when they think of the original Xbox Live, but Mech Assault was pretty big on Xbox Live as well.
Yeah, if I remember, yep, that was it. It was Mech Assault, Madden. Those were like the big hitters that Microsoft were really pushing to have Xbox Live with, and that was it. Mech Assault didn't do all that well. It was kind of all right. People enjoyed it. It was a fun little arcade. Got enough to make a second one and elaborated on that. That was fun. It's good fun. It was a good arcade game, but that was it. It was non-canon. At least for lore nuts like me, it's like, all right, that kind of sucks. But it was good. It was a good story. It was just simplified. Took little pieces of the main story. Take a little later in the future, fighting against the Word of Blake, which was that's another thing where the phone imagine if your phone company gets hyper religious.
Oh, that does not sound great.
Yeah, and basically turn into a cult, and you have to have faith in this, or else you're fucked. You get stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was a good, fun little story. I wouldn't say it was like a top notch, all like amazing game. Like the Mech Warrior games are far superior, but they did, it was a good game. It's just solid. Microsoft wanted their thing.
Okay.
And Microsoft gets what they want, especially if they own you.
Yes, absolutely. So, all right. Well, in shifting topics here, looking at some of the stuff in your background, it looks like you're a fan of Doom and Halo.
Yeah. Yep. Big fan.
So,
Yeah.
well, let's go Doom. What is your favorite Doom game?
Oh, gee, I'd have to give it to the original. Honestly, it's just for the class, at least with the boomer shooter, first one, hands down. It was just the simplicity, and it was one of the first PC games I had actually played as a kid. Didn't have much of a PC. The other Mech Warrior game was one of my first as well. Yeah, my father's friend had it on the PC. I played it, and it was just like it really.
What
just
medium was it on? Was it on floppy?
I was floppy.
Yep. So
yeah, but it was it just like it kind of stuck with me in the idea of like killing demons and such like that. It was just really cool, like really awesome. But with I'd have to put when it comes to the later on games, 3 is at the bottom for me. Unfortunately,
3 is the only one that I haven't actually played through in its entirety. I will. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say it's not a bad game. It's
It's
just
just
it's a
different.
far cry from what the original design was for what people imagined being a Doom game. It functioned more like Fear or what other games like the Condemned. Things like
Yeah.
it was more of a shot like a
It's more of a
fear
survival
horror.
horror type game, which I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of, which is why I haven't it's not very high on my to play list. But I know dude in chat, he's a good buddy of mine. He loves Doom 3. So I do have it on my backlog because I've been meaning to get through the entire franchise because I haven't played Dark Ages yet. I want to
Mm.
play through all of them leading up to Dark Ages before I play Dark Ages, and been stuck on Doom 1. But I'm playing the Game Boy Advance version because for older games, I play for retro achievements, and for how many different versions of Doom there are, it's surprising how few versions there are with retro achievements, at least at the
Yeah.
current time. So I'm playing through the Game Boy Advance version. I've completed acts 1, 2, and 3, and I'm on like level 3 of act 4, and I haven't played it since like October because I just got all the wind taken out of my sails because I'm only playing it on normal difficulty, and it feels like I'm playing it like on Ultra Nightmare. Because like, why is this so insanely difficult on the normal difficulty? So, and the fact that there's so many enemies and it's Game Boy Advance, it runs not great. So
I
there's
can
times
imagine.
it's like the frame rate drops because like I said, it's Game Boy Advance and it's not really meant to not the greatest console for first person shooter. So for most of it, it runs surprisingly well and smooth. But some of these later levels, there's so many enemies, it just chugs to a crawl, and it's like I can't dodge these things because the frame rate can't keep up. So,
Yeah, that's good.
but my introduction to Doom, like I knew of the franchise for not basically since its origination, but I knew it just through by reputation, as a kid, but I never would have been allowed to have played it as a kid. But I wasn't really interested in that one. My Doom when I was a kid was Star Wars Dark Forces, and I still love that game to this day.
That was one of my first games for the PlayStation. It was one of
Uh,
the first 4 games I got. Yeah. So
so
that
I played
Crash
that on PC, but that was my Doom because that was like a Doom clone essentially.
magnificent game.
Love it. I just replayed it, the remaster back in late last year. It was great going through that game again for the
It's
first
good.
time.
I've been
Decades.
meaning and picking that up and doing. I've been kind of thinking about doing a playthrough on that.
Oh, it
Is
was
it?
great. I was like,
There's
oh, so cozy.
Yeah, it's just a reskin of Doom, but it's really damn good.
And
It-
in
Kyle
my
Katarn,
opinion,
come on.
Kyle Katarn's my second favorite Star Wars character. So, and it's because of that series of games. The Jedi
Mhm.
Outcast and Jedi Academy are still to this day, hands down, the best Star Wars games of all time.
Oh heck yeah, yeah.
And no other game has ever made you feel like a Jedi like those games do.
Especially
But
Jedi Academy. Wow, the variety they really
best
nailed
saber
it.
combat ever, and I
Yep,
don't think
hands
that'll
down.
ever get surpassed. I would love to see it happen, but I don't think that'll ever happen, especially with the Souls-like direction that the Cal Kestis games have gone.
J-
Not that that's a bad thing. I've played Fallen Order. I haven't played Jedi Survivor yet, but I will. It was good, but it's still nowhere near as good as Jedi Outcast and Academy when it comes to saber combat, because those are the only games where sabers actually operate like actual sabers.
You gave me the saber staff. I will be
That
forever
is mine
indebted.
too.
Fuck yeah,
So,
buddy. Hell yeah.
my lightsaber's there on the wall. I bought that actually as
Nice.
one. They screw together, but I unscrewed them so I
Okay.
could put them both on my wall because it's really long.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah,
So-
that's wicked. Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I've really wanted to get my hands on those, but if I want to buy it, gotta go big. I've seen ones that like maybe Saber Series. I'm looking at their most expensive one on the shelf. That like that's the one I want. Why is that the one I want? The design wise, that's what I'm looking for.
I got these at WonderCon in like 2010 or so.
Oh, wow.
At one of the booths they had there. It was ultra. I'm pretty sure these are ultra sabers, so they're not like replicas or anything. Like they have like tons of different hilt styles that you can pick from,
Yeah.
and so I those are the ones that I picked. And you can also pick your color. So there's lots of more advanced ones where you can switch through different colors and have sound effects. This one doesn't have that; it's just a set color and no sound effects. But that's all I really wanted. So the color I went with is orange. So that if those things haven't been lit up in years, but that's my color. Sabers.
Same staff, same colors. Dang.
But anyways, where I was going with that was that in my opinion, like people like say that Doom is one of the greatest games of all time, which Definitely for the time. I mean, it's been far surpassed, but it was one of the most influential games of all time. Absolutely, hands down. I mean, it's probably one of the most modded games of all time, would be my guess. But my argument that Dark Forces is better is because one, you can jump, and two, you can look up and down. And Doom, you can't do either of those things. So I say Dark Forces is better than Doom, and it's Star Wars,
Fair.
which I'm a
Very
huge
fair.
fan of Star Wars, real Star Wars, which not Disney, because that's not real Star Wars.
Amen.
But where was I going with that? We're on Doom. Oh, right. So I knew of Doom, but my Doom was Dark Forces as a kid. But my actual introduction to playing it, the first Doom game I played was Doom 2016, and it was after that I went back and played the older ones. So I've played Doom 1 and 2. Like I said, I haven't done 3. I've done 64. I've done 2016 and Eternal, and I will be playing Dark Ages soon-ish. I just don't know how long it's going to take me to get through all of them to get to Dark Ages. But my favorite is Doom Eternal. And when we did top 5 shooters last year, I think it was, Doom Eternal ended up being my number 1. It's one of my most played games, and I freaking love that game. And it's so great. There's nothing I can say bad about it.
2016 is a real close second, though. Oh boy, is it ever!
That's a great game too.
Yeah, unfortunately, at least for me, I only played it like 3 years ago. Doom Eternal, tried that out, and I kind of came in after the whole rebalancing. You know how the DLC came out? It was people weren't happy with the way that the balancing was for that, and then the DLC
first
came out.
DLC was brutally hard,
absolutely brutal, and I loved every second of it because of how brutal it was. Man, that was it. With the height, you were running and gunning in 2016, but you were jumping and shooting in Eternal, and I love that the level of freedom that you felt when you were jumping around, moving about. Yeah, you did have that level of mobility with 2016, but the height wasn't really there with 2016.
Right,
Eternal gave
people
it to
weren't. You. Yeah, 2016, people were like, I don't know if this is going to be any good. It was like a surprise hit that blew everyone away, and also. Little bit that I know about the development is they were going like this Call of Duty direction, and they scrapped it and started over, and it's a good thing that they did, because that was a great choice.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Doom 4 if I remember right.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Eventually turned into 2016.
Yeah, you could still probably find some clips of it online on YouTube.
Probably, easily. I've seen a few of them, but
I like the design. I will admit I do like the setting, the aesthetic that they put together for that, but I think it probably fit better for Terminator Resistance per se.
I have that in my backlog. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard good things.
I've heard. Yeah, I played about 30 minutes of it. The first 30 minutes of it, it's a solid, just a COD shooter kind of thing. It's don't expect the AAA top tier quality or big cinematic action sequences and stuff like you get out of some Call of Duty games. But you'll get a good story, and it's current, and you actually get to see moments from the original movie when you're going into the future war.
Yeah,
Reese's dreams and stuff. You actually you experience that in the game, which was amazing.
Yeah, I actually have both versions of it to play. So I've got the original Terminator Resistance, and I've got the Terminator Resistance Complete Edition. So I have to play it. To play it twice, and I say that in air quotes because it's not like I'm dreading it, because I've heard nothing but good things. And Teon, who's the developer, went on to make the recently well-praised RoboCop have which I also have not played yet either. So I'm looking forward to playing both of those.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a mixed bag about RoboCop, the RoboCop games from Teon, because even it's still a bit of a buggy mess with the even the new one, and with their sequel that came out I was kind of felt like a cash grab.
Unfinished Business, I've heard, is not great. Doesn't live up to the original game.
Yeah, it took me 4 hours to beat. Cost me $50.
I don't have that one yet, but I do have it on my wish list for when it goes on a steep enough sale, because I'm patient and frugal, so I rarely buy stuff unless it's 50% off or more.
Yeah, well, Chad expected me to play it. So I played the first one on stream. I had to stream it.
So, but yeah, so dude says he wants Doom 3 with ray tracing. That's another thing is Doom 3, being an original Xbox game, that was a gorgeous game on the original Xbox, graphics wise. And in my opinion, the best looking game on original Xbox was Ninja Gaiden Black. But Doom 3 would probably be a close second because it was amazing what they were able to, the graphical fidelity they were able to pull out of that console for
boy,
those games.
It's always impressive to see these from back in the day. Heck, even with the PlayStation, the original and N64, the way that especially like with some of the N64 games, way that they were able to push the console to all its boundaries while still being able to keep a nice flowing experience. I was very impressive, man.
So, and yeah, dude, that's the most people's who have a complaint with Eternal is the Marauder. He says Eternal wouldn't be so bad if it didn't have the Marauder. It breaks the flow of combat too much for me. Completely understandable. And yeah, Doom 2016 multiplayer was underrated. I did have to play quite a bit of it because I'm achievement hunter, and so I do have all the achievements in Doom 2016 and Eternal. There's not as many in Doom Eternal's multiplayer as there was for Doom 2016, but I ended up playing a decent amount of the multiplayer and I actually had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, he says that the Doom 2016 multiplayer reminded him of Xbox 360's Halo, playing Halo on 360, and I would agree. It was rather fun. So, hey, and Amin Ra's in chat saying, "Moo, what's up, Amin Ra? Good evening to you, sir." Yeah, even PC guys were impressed that Doom 3 got on Xbox. So, yeah, because it was running on, I know id Tech. I think it was id Tech 2 or 3. And yeah, getting that running on the Xbox was impressive. So, though they did have to redo the levels a little to get it to work. So, okay. Yeah, I just this last weekend I went over to my buddy's house and we played a bunch of stuff. And I played a little bit of Doom Eternal not Doom Eternal, Doom Dark Ages for the first time. And it was because I don't want to jump into the story or anything, so I just jumped into like the Repertorium and just fought a bunch of enemies. And like I'm in the middle of combat, I'm learning the controls. I'm like, "Where's my dash button?" He's like, "There's no dash." I'm like, "What do you mean there's no dash?" So I'm like, learning how to play and like, okay, how do I? Where's the button for this? He's like, "That's not in this game." I'm like, "Oh my god, I feel so handicapped." But it's just because I haven't played Dark Ages yet, so I don't know. I'm not used to it. I'm sure once I get around to it, I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But I don't think I'm gonna like it anywhere near as much as I did Love and
A lot of people felt that way when they played Dark Ages. It was well, they did explain it. They did say very clearly, you're very different from Eternal. You're a tank. You're going to be a walking tank basically with this one.
Yeah,
instead of the
I definitely
running and shoot jumping.
The comparison they were making is like Doom Eternal, you're like a fighter jet, and Doom Dark Ages, you're like a tank. And just a little bit that I played Dark Ages, I'm like, yeah, that tracks pretty well. So.
Yeah, it was good. It's different, but I thoroughly enjoyed it all the same because of the even though with the balancing, and even though we were accustomed to him being like flying all over the place, I just really enjoyed the brutality and just the groundedness of it, and making him less of a just a dancing ballerina jumping all over the place with this double jump and shit like that. It was there was more grit to him. I don't know how else to explain. I wouldn't have bought his helmet if I didn't enjoy the game. I tell you that much.
Yeah, that is the Dark Ages helmet, right?
Very much, yeah. It's the actual like replica that the official one. This thing, very nice. Oh, Tommy Oliver, don't fall. Thank you.
So that's something you could actually put on.
Yeah, this one actually I can put. The ones I can't put on. I really hate that I can't put on this white helmet. It's too small.
Oh, the Power Ranger helmet.
Yeah, the Ranger white helmet and the ODST helmet is just slightly too small. You can see my nose just tapping on the visor. But the Master Chief helmet fits me, and this one definitely fits me.
So that's a wearable Chief helmet. That's not the Halo 3 Legendary Edition.
No, that's not the cat's head.
Okay. I never understood because they said cat's head. It's like, you couldn't even fit a cat's head because it's literally like a rectangle. It's not even round on the Halo 3 Legendary Edition.
Yeah, well, it was the way it was a way for them to easily like describe something for everybody. It's the size of a cat's head. Instead of trying to get dimensions with the pictures
and that on a cat's head, but
no, of course not. It's just the size-wise similar. But yeah, this thing's $250.
Hold on. I disconnected my headphones, so I can't hear you. Give me just a second. All right, we're good.
Yeah, this thing was it's beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's dope.
It's my favorite helmet of the entire franchise, man. So I had to get my hands on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm big fan of helmets. I guess I would best describe it at I like faceless soldiers, troopers, warriors who are you don't need to know their face. You don't need to know what their personality or history is. All you need to know is what their purpose is. And it's always fascinated me throughout my entire like life, even when I was just a little kid. My military, I'm a military nut. I like I
Okay.
like war, everything stuff related to war. Um, like airplanes, anything of
I
machines
love
of
planes.
war. Like the most impressive, for me, like the most impressive, amazing thing is a fighter jet and machines. It is the epitome of human technology and warfare. Like like you just think about the F-15 Eagle, the F-22, the F-35, the F-18s, heck, even the Falcon, just the old fashioned fighting Falcon, the F-16. All of these things, all these flying machines, they can reach speeds that are well beyond any human capability, well past the speed of sound. And
Many times.
they turn on a dime. They and just the beauty of them in the sky too. That watching a dogfight, man, watching these two chase after each other, trying to take one out of the sky. There's just this. There's something majestic and romantic about it that's just always fascinated me. Even like, and bringing it back down to the ground, just the tension, the emotions that come out of war, military, and the pride, the strength, and the watching a man face against insurmountable odds or running towards a hail of bullets. It's always just been so fascinating to me. And they all the time, they're just you don't see their faces, but you know what they've done. You know what they actually know what they want to do, what their purpose is. And it's just I guess that kind of explains a lot of my love for like stuff like Halo, why I have ODS, why I'm such obsessed with OBST, the Power Rangers, Doom, with all these others. How I'm a huge military nut, and how I have such passions for all these. Is just really does fall down to that the masked man who knows his job and does it well.
Nice. Yeah, my one of my favorite movies as a kid, me and my dad were big fans of Top Gun. So um that's partially why, like, I mean, that was, Top Gun was in the Navy, but if you had asked me in high school what I was going to do when I grow up, it's like, oh, hands down, I'm going to the Air Force. I'm going to be a fighter pilot because I freaking love jets and air shows and stuff. That didn't happen, and I don't have any regrets that it didn't happen. But if you at the time, I knew that's what I was going to do because I love
Yeah,
jets and stuff. So
I hear you on that.
I'll have to have you on Party Chat sometime as well. Like my co-host Ryan, he was Army, but he's in the
Oh,
process of getting his pilot's license. He loves planes and stuff too. So get you guys
very
connected
nice.
sometime to talk some
Yeah,
military stuff.
I was planning on having a military career, but when your father cries and begs not to join any military, to just live life, don't get yourself it it really it breaks the will,
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened to me. My father is just like he never talked to me about it when I was a kid growing up, but once I started getting close to the age of joining the reserves, yeah, he opened up to me.
Okay. Um, and dude says that he did prefer Dark Ages over Eternal, but his preference on Eternal is low. Which, yeah, I knew that, but understandable as well. I like the meme of Freerin holding the Doomslayer's helmet. I know Freerin is an anime, but I know absolutely nothing about it, so I don't think I've seen that meme.
I've watched. I listened to an audio of the first season because when I'm working, I can't go on. I can't watch screens. So what do? I listen to anime on audio. I
Okay,
listen to a lot of audiobooks, a lot of audio drama, and
nice.
that's how I listen to Free Reign. And it's a fascinating story, man. It is really good. It's good reason why it's struck a lot of chords with audiences well beyond just the weebs. Because if anybody knows me, I'm not that big of a weeb. I was a weeb way back when I was a teenager. That was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, I've seen like 3 or 4 animes, so not much. I'm definitely not a weeb, but and he says Free Reign is absolute peak in fantasy
Oh yeah,
anime. So
just
I know of it because it's popular because I've heard of it.
the most fascinating thing for me is the introspection that goes on through the show. It's actually like it's not direct. Like you don't see all the characters going through this like secret, this total entire scene of introspection. But it's just this. There's so much to think on, and there's so much. it makes people think differently and have a different perspective on matters, especially when you're coming from a character who's supposed to be centuries old, who has done the who's done the grand quest, who's been the great hero, and now she's basically like seeing how the world is after the fact and such. I'm not going to get into the details, but is if you're going to watch any anime of like recent that's ongoing, that would be a good one if you're a fan. If you like high fantasy, you won't
Okay.
go wrong with Rerun.
Cool. So, all right. Well, then on to the other topic that we've broached a little bit here is Halo. So, what got you into Halo? What
Oh,
was your first Halo game that you played?
First Halo,
The original
Halo
Halo?
1, Combat Evolved. For me, I was born in 91, so 2000 when it came to like consoles and such there, I was right there. And also being in a gaming family where my brother, my father, and my grandmother were playing games on the daily.
I mentioned this recently. I don't remember where, but like no one in my family, they're all like tech illiterate and they wouldn't know how to hold a controller correctly. So when I was a kid, like I tried to have
Mm.
my parents play some games with me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play by myself because I'm way better off that way. So whenever I hear people that are like, yeah, my dad, my grandpa, all my family is games, like I'm kind of jealous that I didn't have people who actually knew how to game.
Yeah, sorry to hear that,
that's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
To hear all these people. It's like, I played games with my parents or, my brother, sister, what I'm an only child, so I don't have siblings. But yeah, so that's awesome that you had, not just your parents, but you had grandparents that played games. That's awesome.
It was a bit of an arm twist from my grandmother, but she did like playing. Well, what was is that back when my father was my age, he had an Atari 2600, played it a little bit, never bothered to play it again because he was always outside. So what did mom decide to do? Oh, we spent our money on it. I'm gonna get some use out of it. So she started playing on the Atari. And that was it. It kind of like she enjoys the little dinky games and stuff. But what her real passion was the like platformers, Crash Bandicoot.
Okay.
She 100% of Crash Bandicoot too. But that was
That is
unheard of back in the day, man.
Nice.
That's not
I haven't
unheard
even
of.
done that.
Dude, the ice level. There's this gem at the ice level that's nearly impossible to get. You need to glitch yourself up there to get it. And she did. Her throwing the remote way up in the air like that. Turns out it worked. But yeah, so what I was saying, yeah, at my growing up, I was heavily influenced with the games, and games were always around me. So when Xbox was released, PlayStation 2 was released, GameCube was released, I got all three.
Nice.
Also, fortunately, of having separate parents who were trying to fight for the affection of the children, that's a good bonus. But that's how I got the GameCube. But anyways, with that,
I got the GameCube on
there.
launch, but I got the original Xbox pretty late in the original Xbox's life cycle because the only thing I really wanted an Xbox for was Halo, but all my buddies had it, so I don't really need my own because we were always hanging out at each other's houses. So there was always someone who had an Xbox and Halo, so we played tons of Halo and had LAN parties. But I didn't have my own Xbox until quite late in the original Xbox's life cycle.
Well, for the second we saw that, what happened was that we didn't have the Xbox yet. So what we did was picked up an Xbox, rented it from the video store,
Okay,
and rented Halo with it. That's how we first played it. My brother and I, instantly fell in love with it. Even though the first time we played it, we only had the game for a day, which it's kind of lame.
That's a bit short.
Yeah, it's really short, but that's how they did it over there. And we got as far as the flood. We got lost in the after being introduced to the flood. You have to like backtrack, make your way back out and stuff. We got lost. We couldn't find our way out. What, 9-year-old kids trying to run around, trying to figure out where to go and everything. It was despite that. Absolutely love the game.
There's a lot of backtracking, so I definitely easy to get lost.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that was it. After that, I was hooked, obsessed with it. Picked up Fall of Reach, read that. Gosh,
you can't.
Kept enjoying
it. See it, but yeah, all my Halo books are on the shelf right above this one.
Okay, above the Slave one, nice.
Yes, another
beautiful
shelf up there, and all my Halo books are up there. And then right above this shelf is a bunch of my Star Wars Expanded Universe books.
Wicked, nice. Well, yeah, that's it. With Halo, I was there practically day one being a big fan
Okay.
of it, but it was really Halo 2 where I kind of like cemented myself as a mad Halo fan,
Okay.
playing the hell out of that.
So, my actual very first introduction to Halo, like I had never even heard of it. I didn't know anything about it. I went over to my best friend's house at the time, and he had recently gotten an Xbox and Halo, and I played it over at his house. We played, split screen co-op, and I fell in love with it instantly because it was, at the time, our first person shooters were GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark, was my favorite game of all time for many years. So going from that to original Xbox's Halo, having the first time basically having twin stick, controls, it was like mind blowing. So I was
So hooked
immediately
us.
enamored with it. And that same friend, he got me into a couple things because he got me into Halo because he happened to, he got it. Prior to that, he also got me into Zelda, like inadvertently, because he had Ocarina of Time. I went over to his place one time and played Ocarina. I'm like, this game seems kind of boring. And then later on, I got a Game Boy Color and I got Link's Awakening, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I fell in love with that game, and I was like, maybe I should give this Ocarina of Time game another shot because I had an N64. I just didn't have an Ocarina, and so I ended up getting Ocarina of Time, and it's ended up in my top 10 games of all time still to this day. So thanks to a friend, he got me into a couple things. Then he kind of fell out of gaming, and I just got more into it. But thanks to him, he got me into two of my favorite franchises ever. So, but it's funny because, like I was saying, me and my buddies, we all played a crap load of Halo LAN parties and stuff. We're all excited for Halo 2. We all bought it when it came out, and we started doing Halo 2 LAN parties because none of us had Xbox Live at the time because it was still, you had a broadband internet and barely anybody had broadband internet. So we were still doing LAN parties. We didn't like Halo 2 multiplayer that much. So after a few weeks, we went back to playing Halo 1.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Huh.
So yeah, Halo 2
Well,
is a good game, but it's my least favorite of the original three.
that's a bit of a different take than usual. I'll say that as much. Most of the time, people look at one and they think, "Oh, it's not as good." No, Halo, the first Halo was really good. I mean, come on, like even the balancing wasn't like top. Even with Halo 2, the balancing for the weapons wasn't like top tier. Oh, for Halo 1, Magnum, you're good.
Yeah, we all love the pistol sniper.
Yep, that was a beautiful gun. But
Yeah,
yeah,
one of the most OP guns, like basic guns of like all time.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, it was because it didn't have the full LAN experience until I got Halo 2. So with Halo 1, it was split screen multiplayer. So I just didn't really see the appeal of the PvP or the versus stuff of it. But back in the day, it was really considered the versus mode, and
Yeah,
stuff
if
like
you
that.
didn't have like, a group to regularly play it with, then I could definitely understand people not having as much fondness for it. But we always had like 6 to 8 people, and we'd get up to four consoles and play 16 people on special occasions. But we were almost always playing with like 6 to 8 people, and so it was so much fun. The main thing for me that I didn't like is just like I think they built a new engine for Halo 2, and I'm pretty sure I think Halo 3 is built on the same one because the gameplay feels very similar.
Yes, it is. Both
Uh,
on the Blam engine, yeah.
but the engine, whatever, I don't know what the name of it was, but whatever engine the original Halo was on, I just liked how like it wasn't so like magnetic to like in Halo 2 or 3, like if an enemy runs by you and you punch, you'll like turn and like because they were within your range when you initiate the melee, like you'll kind of like lock onto them and you'll turn with them as the animation plays through. If that happened in Halo 1 and a character runs by you and you punch, you're not going to move and your punch is going to miss. You have to keep your punch with them, sort of thing. So like the way that I didn't like that, and I like in Halo 1, I liked how it wouldn't lock onto things.
Was your
That's
your
fine.
punches didn't have a homing feature to it. Yeah, no,
Exactly. So
that's understandable.
that's just the how I can describe it. Because one of one of my favorite game modes was it was by the honor system because there was no way to turn it off. But we would turn off shields and set it to 50% health, and you weren't allowed to shoot your gun. You just had to run around and punch everyone. So
okay.
I had so much fun playing that, and that was one of the reasons why that was my favorite game mode is because I usually won those matches. And in Halo 2 and 3, you couldn't quite do that because the punches would basically lock on. Where Halo 1, you have to have your punches aimed like precisely. So that was another reason why I liked Halo 1 more than 2. But all three of them are, Halos 1, 2, and 3 are one of the greatest trilogies of gaming.
Oh heck yeah.
So Ariana Floyd shows up in chat tonight. Good evening, Ariana. Good to see you as always. And catch up a little bit on chat here. Dude says, my mom plays the Warriors games because dude's a huge fan of like the Dynasty Warriors games. So nice. He says his mom played Warriors, which I think he's mentioned before. Not to the extent that he plays them, but she does play them, which that's awesome. And Alien on PS1 had the first twin stick control scheme. A professional games journalist chastised the control scheme. Ha! That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. It was on the PS1, the original DualShock controllers.
Because I never had a PlayStation, so I thought the first PlayStation dual joystick controller was PS2, but I've been informed like no, that controller existed for PS1, just not at launch.
Yeah, that's it. It was a late stage addition because of new games coming out and having to add more buttons. They needed something, and it was it was actually kind of interesting if you look at that short stint of 5-6 years of joysticks being
single joysticks.
Single joysticks,
Dreamcast,
the single joysticks, and then you get dual joysticks, and that just becomes the standard norm because everybody wants to have like the first person shooters or on their platform, so they're gonna have a controller that accommodates them. It's fair.
So, quick side tangent because I do still have some other stuff I want to talk about Halo. But talking about the single joystick, did you have N64?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you play GoldenEye?
I did play GoldenEye, and wow, thinking back on that, it worked. It did work, but
did you play Perfect Dark?
That a friend of mine had it. I can't say I played it as much as GoldenEye, but personally, I prefer Perfect Dark. Honestly,
yes! Thank you. Because most people that I have on haven't played Perfect Dark or have not played much of it because it just didn't sell anywhere near as much as GoldenEye. But Perfect Dark is better than GoldenEye in legitimately every single way because they took everything they did with GoldenEye and made it better because it's the same team that did it. It's basically the sequel to GoldenEye, just doesn't have the James Bond name on it. So Ryan, who I was telling you about, my co-host on Party Chat, we get into this argument on almost every episode, and he's like, GoldenEye's better. I'm like, no, Perfect Dark is better, but he hasn't played Perfect Dark. He's only played GoldenEye, so it's like, your vote doesn't count. I played hundreds of hours of both, so my vote has much more sway. But anyways, I was just curious if you played it, because one thing that I often mention is it wasn't talking about the dual joystick thing. One thing that not a lot of people knew, and I didn't know this for many years until I was just screwing around in the settings menu of GoldenEye one time, and I was switching through the control options, and there was like 1.1, 1.2, 1.45. I don't remember how many different ones, but then it went to 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and it showed two N64 controllers. I'm like, wait a minute, does this mean what I think it means? So I plugged in a controller into port 2. And you can use dual joysticks if you have two controllers. You can use both ports 1 and 2 to do dual joystick controls on GoldenEye. You can also do the same thing in Perfect Dark. It was like mind blowing. It's like, oh my god, this is amazing. So
almost like the old original it's like VR controllers before VR. Kind of, yeah. Yeah, well, the way the button setups are for the N64, you'd have to hold the centerpiece, right?
Yeah, you just hold the center one. But yeah, you can, if you have your N64 Perfect Dark, which is what's in my N64 right there, nice. Or GoldenEye, you can go to controls and switch it to 2.1 or whatever one that's 2 point anything, and you can plug a second controller in. You can use dual joysticks.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, Perfect Dark's prefer for me. Perfect Dark Zero. Oh, I do that. I got a little bit of a passionate hatred for that game.
Interesting.
Honestly.
Okay.
Because the game was hyped. Xbox 360 launch
title. Yep.
Title. Yep.
It was kind of the one that was most people thought was going to be like the killer launch title, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it was an absolute dud. I mean, the story was hard to get a grasp around to begin with, let alone just with the original Perfect Dark, and then having to re-grasp onto that. The voice acting was just so botched and just so phoned in from everybody. Even the voice actress for Joanna Dark was a dud, at least for me. And I don't know. They had one famous voice actor I recognized from them, but it was just such an obnoxious voice, and just the story too was just rough to wrap your head around, and the weaponry too is not very appealing. Like you want to have
So,
a rifle, you got a burst fire plasma weapon or a plasma weapon.
what
I don't know.
the heck, Lawrence?
It was just so lackluster. My honest opinion.
Okay. So like I said, Perfect Dark, the original one, was my favorite game of all time for many years. So this was one of my most anticipated games of all time, Perfect Dark Zero. It being a 360 launch title, I didn't get my 360 until so it came out and it launched in November of 2005. I wasn't able to get my hands on one until February of 2006. So I actually just passed my 20 years of getting a 360. And I bought, not on day one, but I did buy Perfect Dark Zero, I think with my Christmas money, before, a couple months before I even had a 360. So I've got my Perfect Dark Zero where is it? Oh, it's this one right here. It's the collector's edition steelbook.
Nice.
I was so excited for it. Like I said, I had it for close to 2 months before I could actually have any hardware I can play it on. So I do still like the game, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one. People say it's like, oh, that game sucks. Like, I don't think it sucked. I just think it was definitely a big letdown and a disappointment. But I don't think it was a bad game. But I haven't played it in probably 15 years. So I do still want to go back and 100% it because it's very difficult to get those last few achievements for beating it on Dark Agent. But I do want to do that at some point. So I do plan to play through it again. But and I'll have to pay attention to the voice acting thing because I don't remember being disappointed by the voice acting. But we'll see when I get around to playing it
If I
again.
remember correctly, it was either the second I can remember this vividly. It was either the second or the third level where you meet this informant guy basically giving you the details. He gets himself somebody shoots him, kills him. He has this slow death, but it's just so poorly delivered. Amongst other things. It just wasn't like I said, it was lackluster, but I will give some context. When I got Perfect Dark Zero, I also got another game alongside with it, Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So
I've got my Oblivion right next to it, right there. That's a
it.
fantastic game.
It was a Christmas gift. Get 360, each pick a game. My brother and I chose. He picked Perfect Dark Zero because he remembered Perfect Dark. I picked Oblivion because it looked like a cool high fantasy game, and I remembered Morrowind. Guess who was more satisfied with their choice?
Yeah, probably the Oblivion would be my guess.
Oh yeah, I got at least like 200-300 hours between the two of us just playing that.
So, we'll definitely touch on that here again shortly as well. But I just want to catch. Dude said N64 was great if it didn't wear out so easily. I never had any N64 controller sticks wear out.
Oh yeah,
but
they all wore out on me.
I also didn't ever play Mario Party, so maybe that's why people's N64 sticks wore out.
Yeah, we all had a game where we spun that stick, joystick.
My top 5 co-host, who unfortunately wasn't able to make it last week, he legitimately has a scar on his palm from Mario Party on N64.
Wow, that's wild.
And dude says, Neo, you need to get the completions on Retro Tunes for GoldenEye Perfect Dark before you can truly believe that. I've played hundreds of hours in both. I can definitely, have a good say on which game is better. I am going to absolutely be playing them both for retro achievements. I don't think I'll probably be getting the completions on either of them though, because they are quite difficult. So, but all right. So I wrote down, I want to get back to Oblivion, but before we get too far off topic, I did have some more stuff I wanted to talk about. Halo. So yeah. Halo 3 is my favorite Halo out of the entire franchise. And I'm pretty sure I put that also in my top 10 games of all time. And it was definitely on my top 5 shooters. Which Halo is your favorite?
Oh, who's the favorite child? Fuck. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I put
It's
Halo
tough.
as so Doom Eternal. I actually put in my number 4 of top 10 games of all time, and Halo 3 is at my number 7.
That's a really tough question
And
because
Jedi Academy is at my number 9, so that's also my top 10.
yeah, I've never been good with top tens because it's just every time I think about one putting up, and it's like, oh, but then you compare it to this, it's like I'm always constantly arguing for every single side when it comes to a top 10, my own top 10 list. So it's just I have a greats. That's it. A peaks, top tiers. I should get a tier list. No top tens. But yeah, with I'd have to say, oh boy, two. I'd have to be two.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed three. I played all kinds out of it, but if I'm gonna have to knock it down to anything, I went through more Halo 2 discs than I did Halo 3. So it's gonna
Fair
have to be
enough.
two.
Okay. All right. So, um, and have you played them all? Like, 'cause I still haven't played Infinite yet, but I'm going to very soon.
All of them.
Okay.
I played all,
Um,
even all the spin-offs.
okay.
Halo Wars,
I was
even
just
the
gonna say Halo Wars because dude in chat is a fan of Halo Wars. I don't like RTS games, so I have not played Halo Wars. But um, so Halo Infinite though, it seems to be kind of like people are all over the place on that. What's your take on Infinite? Just did you like? Because I easily think that Halo 5 is the worst in the franchise. I still think it's a
is
good game, like mechanically, but like the story in the game is terrible.
that is the one thing that it's kind of its saving grace in comparing it to like Infinite is that it still kind of kept the core mechanics of the Halo game. With Halo Infinite, we got open world, we got different like it basically became more of it became a very different game with Halo Infinite. And
I
on
think
top of
Gears
that
5
too,
did the same thing.
yeah, where it was more of like an open world, you basically choose where you locate. It's it's a more of a sandbox. People preferred the procedurally the
More
hard
linear.
knit, the core linear story that it worked because the story had an objective. Sequence. There was a proper regular normal story with it. But when it comes to like Halo Infinite, it was just a bit of a mixed bag, and a lot of people were feeling like it was nothing special about it other than grappling hook. That was it with Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. They added a bunch of different mechanics that people just had no taste for whatsoever, and people were confused why they were adding this into the game. Like for like the whole detective side of Halo Infinite of Halo 5 Guardians, where you're spending 5-10 minutes in a particular area doing detective work, and
Yeah,
which
those
is
levels where you
unheard
just
of.
like talk to people.
Yeah, it
There's
was
no
kind of like a
combat.
little reminiscent thing. It was just a little reminiscent thing from the ODST days where you'd go running around as the rookie finding pieces to
I
get to
love
the levels, but
ODST.
there was a major like reason for it. Okay, pick up this piece, you get a story, you get a level, and you get to find out what happens to everybody. But with this, it was just like, all right, do this, do that, get your information, get the what you need, and move on. It just didn't. Nothing was very memorable about it at all.
So not a big fan of Infinite then.
No, not yeah, not infinite. I would say is the it's a decent, but it's one of the weakest Halo games out there for sure. Halo 5 Guardians just completely wedged the whole story and yeah, it was just way out there, way too
Between
off.
between 5 and Infinite, which one do you think is a better game?
I'd have to give it to Infinite, honestly.
Okay.
Even though the open worldness is vastly different, it's an incomplete story. They do have like the core mechanics of the combat, right? You're playing Master Chief for the most part, not just two of the 9-10 levels with Halo 5 Guardians.
Yeah,
And
that
you're
was another
actually
big
yeah,
complaint. It's like you barely spend any of the game playing as Master Chief.
and everything around you is supposed to feel relevant, but that was it. With Halo 5 Guardians, you had the Guardians, this whole like totally new mixture of enemy, and they tried to add to that tried to bring that in, having Cortana as the new enemy and the whole big war going on between the humans and the artificial intelligence who side with Cortana. And that just, they did nothing with it. And it's just like nobody liked it. Nobody was happy with it. And so what did they decide to do? Do a 6-month time jump to Infinite? Even that was confusing with things. It was just super Halo 4 at least had they had established a foundation. They built something up. But unfortunately it just kind of like it didn't go as well as they'd hoped. And even with their little side story of concluding the Halo 4 story with the didact into a comic book, that was their way of trying to shove that game aside and try to work on something new. They keep doing that. They did that they do that twice over after that with Halo 5 Guardians. Oh no, well, this is a dud. We'll try to mix things up, get a distance from the 5, and we'll go to 6. And once again,
Exactly what Dude is saying in chat. How much of the Infinite storyline is going to get finished in alternate media like 4 and 5, where they didn't actually finish it out in the actual games? You have to go to other media to find what happened.
Exactly. Yeah, he's right. But I will give it one thing. Originally, the lore was like that. You'd get in between stories between the games, but the main canon is still all the same. The games. It was all right that was good at the time because the books and stories that were in between the games were somewhat isolated. Yeah, they did tie in what was going on with the other one, like First Strike. If I remember right, the book Halo First Strike was the story between Halo 1 and Halo 2, and then it kind of explained how Avery Johnson got his way back to back to Earth 2, if I remember correctly. And it was a whole story about Master Chief. He's drifting out into the wreckage. He finds survivors. He basically, if I remember right, he hotwires a carrier, a Covenant ship, and
it's been a long time since I've read that book. So
yeah, it's been a long of it. But that was it. It was a nice isolated story that filled the gap beautifully from between Halo 1 and Halo 2. And there was absolutely nothing that you needed to know from that. You can be satisfied with just Avery Johnson telling you, sorry, it's classified.
Yeah. So my favorite franchise of all time is Mass Effect, and the Mass Effect books did a good job of doing that too. So like the very first Mass Effect book, Revelations, takes place about 20 years before the first game does. So you don't need to know any of that to understand what's going on in the game. But if you have read the book, there's like nods to it where it's like, oh, I know exactly what you're referring to because I read that book. So
Get a far
like
more.
That's the best way to do it. Not put like the actual important parts of the story in some other piece of media that you may not actually follow. And then the next game picks up after that. And you're like, whoa, we're missing some major plot points between, A and B. So what's missing here? Yeah. So,
yeah. If I do remember, I think I listened to the audio book of Revelations, and it really fleshed out Saren in that.
Yep.
You get with that book, you get a far better grasp at Saren than just playing the game alone. He really does fall into this like kind of a one trick villain kind of thing. One trick wouldn't be the right choice of words for it. I guess it would be a kind of a linear perspective of a villain. He gets fed. What is it? If I remember correctly, he works with the Geth, calls on the Reapers. He finds that the Reapers exist and that they're supposed to wipe the galaxy clean. Tries to advance that by creating the portal from the Citadel. The whole cycle of like the Citadel was created by the Reapers to for all of humanity, for all of any alien species to always find the Citadel, always find that same technology, and always open up the door for them.
Yeah,
it was like you had a hard time like grasping like where he comes from that. Whereas his personality and why people revered him and such. He's just known as a great warrior. And then they fled. Yeah, that's it. That's good.
So,
it's good that games do that. That they add more to the story, but it can't be something of a necessity that you have to read it in order to understand what's going on in the games. And that's what they veered off after I don't know. I think it was after ODST that they started veering off. They wanted to have Buck, and because ODST characters were so popular, they wanted to
Mhm.
have their own storyline for that, and then have that tie in back into it, and also amongst other things, the Spartans following Kelly and Fred and all that stuff. It's just trying to tie that all together and then trying to create their own stories. That's the problem when you
Became a
have
bit of a
you
mess.
don't you need a consistent Bible thumper for these things.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing the dude said. Yeah, the games also had a complete story during Bungie's era. Exactly. One last quick thing on the Mass Effect books, 'cause I do want to put a little caveat. The first 3 books, which were all written by Drew Karpyshyn, the 4th book was written by a different author, and that book is terrible. So I'm just talking about the first 3. um,
And
but
that's a testament to what I was saying. If you need a consistent Bible thumper to keep everything on track, if you throw if yeah, oh, I know Warhammer 40K has a bit of an issue with this, but they don't really care, honestly, at the end of the day, that they throw out these the stories for the authors to write, and they kind of like throw in their own thing to it, and it mucks things up down the road.
So, yeah, well, you talked about Halo 4, and like that's another game that got a lot of flack. Like, I still don't understand the hate for Halo 4. Uh, it's I don't hate it at all. I thought it was good and I thought it was fun, but people like hate Halo 4. I'm like, why? I understand the hate for Halo 5. I don't understand the hate for Halo 4.
Hmm. It's a hard one because it's a bit of a mixed bag on that. I liked Halo 4. I bought it. I played the hell out of it. I bought the soundtrack for it. I bought the music
And
for it. I
it has the
enjoyed
best Cortana as well.
it. It does have the best Cortana. My goodness.
So, and dude says Halo 4 multiplayer was mad. I played Halo 3 and Reach multiplayer, and I don't think I ever played any of 4 or 5's multiplayer. And obviously, I've never played Infinite, so I've never even played Infinite.
Yeah, he was right. Halo 4's multiplayer was met, and it was also where they added in the rec system, where it was like this card based system where you'd have to accumulate particular cards if you want to use them for their major game mode. If I remember
Oh, they
right,
brought that into Master Chief Collection. So if I have played Halo
yeah.
4 and
No, they
multiplayer,
didn't.
that's the only one that I played is in
No,
Master Chief Collection.
no, they didn't bring in the with the Halo 4 stuff. It was open Warzone, if I remember the name was.
That was one of the game modes, yeah.
Yeah, that
Or
didn't get carried over with.
was that Halo 5? That might have
It
been
could
Halo
be.
5.
No, I think it was the Warzone was Halo 4, and a Halo 5, if I remember correctly, was the hyperized MLG gaming stuff of it, if I remember correctly. Or I might be getting them mixed up.
So I can't say I never played the Halo 4 multiplayer because there was achievements for Halo 4 multiplayer, but I don't know that I ever actually like legitimately played Halo 4 multiplayer. I think the only time I ever played Halo 4 multiplayer was in boosting groups to get the Halo 4 multiplayer achievements. Dude says the rec system was in Halo 5
Okay.
and Warzone was also Halo 5. So I wasn't sure about the rec
Okay.
system, but I was like, I'm almost positive Warzone was Halo 5.
Dang, I could have sworn was playing that 2012.
But yeah,
Boy,
he also
okay.
says Halo 4 does look incredibly impressive for a 360 game. It is a very good looking game.
Oh yeah, they pushed the bars on that one. Okay, both had both the Warzone and that MLG. Okay, so they taken all my eyes. Okay, okay, but all right. Well, I do know I get this right. They do have the Spartan Ops.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little yeah. Now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking on it, yeah, I've kind of fallen into the same place you. I'm a little confused why people hated it so much. I guess because they put more emphasis on the Spartan Ops, less on the
Yeah.
multiplayer, which is
Spartan Ops. I wasn't a fan of that just because there was an achievement for beating it on Legendary, and like you had unlimited lives, but it was it's just so many freaking enemies. It took forever, and I played it all solo, and it doesn't scale it down. So that would be a lot better with multiple people.
Yeah, that was they
Right,
tried
front.
creating a spin-off story that people might latch on to following this random group of Spartans, the Spartan Fours.
I think they were trying to make that like their seasons thing, like get your season pass for this season of Spartan Ops, and it just didn't happen. So yeah, Spartan Ops was nah. 5's strong suit was the multiplayer, which I didn't play. So way too many samey missions.
Yeah, I was a little different on that. I hated the 5 multiplayer, the MLG stuff, the Warzone aspects, everything about it. I just ate. With 4, yeah, I personally I enjoyed the Spartan Ops because it kind of falls into the the faceless soldier stuff, watching random soldiers come in. Like back when I was a kid, I watched Tour of Duty, shows like that, where it was like all a bunch of guys. But sidetrack a bit. But anyway, what was I saying? I'm going all over the place at the moment.
A couple of things that dude said a few minutes ago that I wanted to say is that he's got almost every Halo achievement except for Infinite's co-op and the Windows versions of the Twin Sticks games, which is Spartan Strike and Spartan Assault. I think Spartan Assault's the first one, Spartan Strike is the second one. So,
Right, yeah.
I haven't played through. I've played through the Windows version of Spartan Assault. And I'm only missing like 1 or 2 achievements on there. And then I've played the Xbox One version of Spartan Assault, but I still have a bunch. I've beaten the story, but I've only got like half the achievements or something. And I barely touched Spartan Strike, which was only like Windows 8, I think, is what it was. So I still have to go back and play that one. Yeah, he's got 100% Master Chief Collection, which is nuts. So, and then he says Halo 5 could have been great if they built off how similar the Didact and Chief were and had the Didact still around and Chief going after him for revenge.
Yeah, that would have done something. At least give us something with the character. That was it. Yeah, with Halo 4 at the ending, we just see him be just blown up. That's it.
Yeah, man, he put it in chat there. Yeah, I have all 700 Chivos Master Chief Collection, which, yep, I know, that's crazy.
Wow.
I have 100% in. I don't have 100% in the Master Chief Collection, but I have 100% in like the Halo Anniversary Edition, which was the one they released for 360. I have 100% in Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo 5, ODST, and Reach. But I don't, in Master Chief they have the achievements for getting all the lassos, which I will never do. So,
it gets a little too crazy with some of their achievements that they did.
So one of the other things when we were talking about helmets earlier, I wanted to ask you because I want to get a Doom helmet for my background someday as well. But the number one helmet that I want to get is the Samus helmet because Metroid is my second favorite franchise behind Mass Effect. Being a fan of not necessarily Faceless, since we do see your face, just not that much, but helmeted armored characters. Are you a fan of the Metroid franchise at all?
I have high respect for the franchise. Never got into it myself, honestly.
Okay.
It was when it comes to like a lot of the Nintendo specific games, I just didn't really get strongly into it, other than like Super Smash Brothers, maybe some Mario 64, some of the classics and such like that. Not that Castlevania and that one. Yeah, just didn't. Yeah, Samus Metroid games just didn't appeal to me at the time. But did play Metroid Prime. That was a good game. That was a lot of fun.
Metroid Prime remastered is my number 3 game of all time. That game is phenomenal. So that is by far my favorite Metroid game. But I wasn't huge on Metroid growing up. It wasn't until later on. Like my favorite Nintendo franchise as a kid was the Zelda franchise. As I told you, I got into it Link's Awakening, Ocarina of Time, and I was a huge Zelda fan. It wasn't until later on, around the time of, because Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion came out on the same day, and that was kind of when I really got sucked into the franchise. And it actually wasn't until many years later where like it became one of my favorite franchises. And I went back and played all the original Metroid 1 and 2 for NES and Game Boy. I only played those for the first time just last year. But I didn't become a really, really big fan of it until within the last decade. So it's more of a recent, I liked the games, but it wasn't like in my top, one of my top franchises ever until, more recent. So, but yeah, speaking of, talking about the helmets, I was curious if you were a fan of Metroid. So,
mad respect for the franchise. It just never came my direction. Same thing for a few of them. Lara Croft, wasn't a big fan of it.
I always wanted to play him, but because the early Tomb Raider games were PlayStation, like I said, I never had a PlayStation, so I never got to play those ones. I do have the 1, 2, and 3 remaster. I haven't played it yet, but I do have that to play at some point.
They're good. They're very solid game. Well, the first one's amazing, if I remember right. Second one's good. Third one's it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but they do elaborate more, from sequel to sequel. It's just third one wasn't wasn't as well received as the last two other ones. Okay. But still an all right game.
So yeah, I've got that one because the only ones I've actually played, I played Tomb Raider Legend and Underworld back when they were fairly new on 360. Um, and then I have the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy, the 3 recent ones. Haven't played those yet either. And then I did play the 2 spin-offs, Temple of Osiris and Guardian of Light. So I played those ones, but those are the the isometric ones.
Yeah.
But I've got the 3, 1, 2, 3 remaster. I do plan to pick up 4, 5, and 6 remaster at some point, and then I hope that it would be nice if they did a remaster of the Legend Underworld. What was there's 3 in that era as well. I forgot what the third one is called. But it'd be nice if they did a remaster of those ones as well.
I can still remember. I can still like see the cover of Tomb Raider Legends on it, like vividly. Lara Croft, a big close up on her. That was great. It was one of my favorites. I did like the first Crystal Dynamics one was all right. Didn't play the other 2 though.
Was the first Crystal Dynamics one
just the reboot
Tomb Raider?
Reboot? Yeah.
Okay.
Straight up Tomb Raider is the one where the one they created this TV show off of.
Yeah. So
which was a dud. God.
Did that? Oh well, no, it just got announced.
I must be thinking about the movie. Maybe
the movie with Alicia Vikander.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that one. I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't really anything to write home about. So, and then dude says he also has all the achievements in all the DMC games, which is insane because those games are also insanely hard. And he's saying DMC is much, much better than Ninja Gaiden. I haven't played any DMC games, so I can't say, but Ninja Gaiden is also Ninja Gaiden Black is my number 5 game of all time. So I love that game.
The third Devil May Cry and original iteration. Good God. When that game first launched, it was difficult, super difficult. If I remember right, they re-released it later on with an easier edition. Something that if I remember correctly, dude will probably correct me on that.
Dude would know because he's very well versed in DMC, and basically everything I know about DMC is from what we've talked about because we do a show once a month. Since he's a big achievement hunter as well, we do our Achievement Chasers show where we just talk about what we achievement hunted over the previous month. So basically everything I know about DMC is from those shows when he's telling me about it.
Okay.
So, all right. So, you were a fan of Oblivion. So I've told this story a few times before for anyone who has hung around this channel for a while, but Oblivion was my introduction to RPGs in general, because in my mind, until I was introduced to Oblivion, all RPGs were turn-based, essentially JRPGs, which I had zero interest in because I'm not a fan of turn-based combat. So I went into I didn't get Oblivion on launch, but I did get it soon thereafter because I think it launched in spring of 2006 if I remember, and I think I got it in summer of 2006 because I went to the games Game Crazy was where I went a lot of the times, which was the video game section of Hollywood Video. And so I would go there, just whenever, just check things out. And so after I was thinking about it at work one day, and I remember it was summer of 2006, and I was like, you know what? I want a game that's going to take me a long time to beat. So I just went into Game Crazy. I'm like, hey, what's a really big, expansive game that's going to take me a long time to beat? He's like, here's Oblivion. And so that's the one that's right up there. It's collector's edition. He's like, go play this. You'll thank me later. And so I was like, all right. So I took it home and I got hooked on that game. And I was like, this is what RPGs are supposed to be, in my opinion. So I like real time RPGs. I'm not a fan of the turn based, which is why Mass Effect is my number 1 favorite franchise of all time. Also because 9 times out of 10, I will take sci-fi over fantasy almost every time. The main that 1 out of 10 is I will actually prefer Elder Scrolls over Fallout, which is a great comparison because they're both from the same developer. And that's just because I like the vibrancy of the brightness essentially of Oblivion specifically. But the drab and dreariness of Fallout, I like it. I played, a crap load of Fallout 3 as well. But I do like Oblivion and Skyrim better. But if it wasn't just the setting of being, in a post-apocalyptic setting, if it was more a like actual sci-fi with futuristic tech, I would probably prefer that over Elder Scrolls. But yeah, so that was my introduction to RPGs, and I fell in love with it. Similarly, I've got hundreds of hours in it. Haven't played it in a very long time, but I didn't buy Skyrim day one, but I got that because that came out. That was a very easy date to remember, 11/11/11. I got it for
Oh yeah.
Christmas of 2011, so I played hundreds of hours of that as well. I will be playing the Oblivion remaster eventually. Big game, so I don't know when I'm going to get around to it. But I put hundreds of hours in both of those games, and so that's what was my gateway into RPGs. Because I'm like, oh, there are RPGs that are not turn-based stuff, and so that's where I started expanding my horizon. So, curious from you if you have any sort of. So was Oblivion was that your entry into the Elder Scrolls franchise as well?
No, I
Okay.
played Morrowind back in the day on the console. I loved the game. I thoroughly enjoyed the story it was given me, but unfortunately, I just could not handle the combat mechanics that they had. It was a hit chance system rather than actually hitting.
Yes,
So
because
unless you had the top tier weapon, unless you had the weapon of the skill, the weapon that collaborated with the skill that you had at a high enough level, even at 25 skill points into it, still wasn't enough in fighting humans. You had to go fight the little scrubs and monsters first. Start small. Didn't know that. Didn't know that beforehand. Figured it'd be like any other game. You hit, okay, you hit, then he takes damage. No,
yeah,
hit 100 times, you don't hit once. What's happening?
yeah. So people hold Morrowind in a high regard, and I'd never played it until sometime within the last year. It came up on a roulette stream, so I played it for about 15 minutes. I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm swinging and I'm hitting him. That's one of the other things that I don't like about turn-based games. It's all based on dice rolls. And
Well, at
also
least you see the dice with some of those turn based. With the Morrowind game, you didn't even see anything.
exactly. And so that's why another game that people like talk to high heaven is KOTOR. And that was it took me a while to come around on it, but that was I did not like KOTOR the first time I played it because I didn't understand any of that. I later on eventually played D&D in college with some friends, and I learned all about it. And I'm like, okay, I understand KOTOR now. But people praise that to high heavens, like it has an amazing story. I'll give it that, but the gameplay in KOTOR is very meh. So I don't know why people hold it in such
Gonna
high
have to
regard. It's
disagree
not
on
that
that.
great of a game.
I'm a huge RPG fan, and even all the turn-based stuff. Final Fantasy VII is the reason why I stayed in the honor roll for English class from primary to the end of high school. So there's always a place in my heart for those old-fashioned RPGs and such.
So
Yeah,
like when playing KOTOR, I'm like, I'm seeing the lightsaber connect and it says miss. What is this BS? So I hated it for a while. I did come around on it. I did beat it. But I beat it, 20 plus years ago. So I'm gonna be playing it again at some point. And when the first time I played light side. So when I eventually end up playing it again, I'm gonna play dark side, and then I'm gonna play KOTOR 2 for the first time because I've never played KOTOR 2.
oh, really? You'll
But
enjoy that a lot.
the whole it's all based on dice rolls just drove me nuts, and so that's why KOTOR is not even in my top 10 favorite Star Wars games.
Fair.
But then when the 15 minutes I played of Morrowind on this roulette stream, I was like, I'm making contact and it's not doing damage. What the heck is this? And I realized, oh, it's based on hit chance. I'm like, that stuff belongs in turn-based games. You don't put hit chance BS in real-time games. So I am not so as dude says in chat here, says, can't wait till OG Xbox gets retro achievement support so I can play Morrowind. I will play Morrowind at that point, but hit chance and dice rolls do not belong in real-time games. Keep that to turn-based. So people that love Morrowind, I don't get it. But I only played it for a few minutes. Maybe I think I played it for maybe like 20 minutes. So maybe when I get around to playing it in its entirety, I'll understand. But my first brief encounter with it, I'm like, this is garbage.
Yeah, it's rough because they don't tell you exactly how the mechanics work to begin with. You got to really look at it yourself and figure it out. What really helped people get into it is the fact that they picked up a weapon that they had skills into, points established into, and they started small. The game doesn't teach you that. The game doesn't tell you how to how to start like that. They basically just throw you into the wind, and if you actually follow the quest lines as they were given, one of your first encounters is with a dark elf, if I remember correctly. So that because that, if I remember correctly, yeah, that just became a nightmare for anybody. They go up trying to hit it, low hit chance, low hit chance. Oh, they might get 1 or 2 hits in, but because you're doing so little damage, it really is insignificant. So
Yeah,
people, yeah, that's it. People got
with
fed up
the
with that.
Oblivion remaster, I was like, I think Morrowind far more deserved a remaster and get, actually and have it play like Oblivion where you don't have this hit chance dice roll crap. And I would be much more inclined to play that.
Be grateful you didn't get the Daggerfall. Oh, if you thought you hated Morrowind, the Daggerfall would have probably aggravated you. Might have. I think if I remember, probably definitely had a lot better of a hit chance, but it was essentially the same thing.
Okay.
The other thing too about that game, Daggerfall, which was a fun little thing that the games did, you got dropped into one of the most difficult dungeons in the map right at the beginning, and you're basically told, "All right, escape, get out on your own, do or die."
And it's not like a set piece like it is at the beginning of Oblivion or Skyrim.
Yep. They ain't holding you by the hand either, not showing you any tutorials or pop-ups. You get a basic rundown of what things are. That's it.
That sounds brutal. So,
But yeah, those good games, good franchise. Well, there's a reason it's still around for like 20 plus years, even though they are still trying to like keep it alive off of an MMO. It's
Elder Scrolls Online.
yeah.
Because it's like Elder Scrolls 6. How long ago was that announced? We haven't heard a peep about it yet.
I think it was 2017, 2018.
Sounds about right. So I will be very excited to play that when or if it ever comes out. But what's your favorite Elder Scrolls game?
I'd have to give it to Skyrim, honestly. For the Nords.
I did like Oblivion, but I liked Skyrim even better.
Yeah, with Elder Scrolls, they did a fantastic job. Now that I'm thinking about it, story wise, Oblivion's got the edge.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that.
Mechanics wise, they streamlined a lot of stuff from 4 to 5 and made things a lot more convenient. Especially with that radial menu.
Was like really weird. So I heard that they addressed the leveling system in Oblivion Remastered, but I haven't played myself, so I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I could remember it correctly. I couldn't tell you for sure at the moment, but yeah, they did a little bit of revamping, not to an extent that it was no longer recognizable, just enough that it was more lenient to people.
So yeah, dude says Elder Scrolls Online is okay. Just wish I never started it due to the PvP Chivos. I understand that. I have not started it. I was interested in the game, but yeah, it's like an MMO. I'm not gonna play it because those achievements will never end. So yeah, never started it. So all right. Well, so another thing I often say is like Metroidvania is my thing. Like I said, Metroid is my second favorite franchise, but Metroidvania in general is like my favorite genre. And I do Metroidvania Monday every Monday, or just I've been playing through Metroidvania games. So curious if you had to pick a favorite genre. What
can't give you that answer.
You can't do it.
I can't give you that answer. This is an impossible task because once I start thinking about one genre, I'll start reminiscing about the other genre. I have appreciation for every single genre that's out there. At least some sort of modicum of respect. Doesn't mean I'm going to pick up the game because of the genre, that's for sure. But it's just everybody has a game out there that they want to play in. There should be all genres out there available. I'm not going to diminish the value of that genre because I have a preference over another particular genre. I don't know if you know what I mean by that.
No, I get it.
They have equal value. It's the games themselves that are the real that deserve to be judged.
Okay. So, well, it sounds like you're a little bit more open-minded than me when it comes to RPGs. So, like,
I was raised on them.
Like I said, I'm not a fan of turn-based RPGs. There's a couple that I've played that I rather enjoyed. But for the most part, if it's an option between a turn-based RPG and a real-time RPG, 99 times out of 100, I'm going to pick the real-time RPG. So, if you had to pick between turn-based and real-time, do you have a preference?
I'm falling in the same trap as with the genres. I'd have to, I guess, I have to go with the turn-based.
Okay.
I respect the real time, but it's the turn based as just so reminiscent of the old classic JRPGs that I used to love, enjoyed back in the day. But and that's it. Yeah. Go to bring it back to the genres there. For me, it was the genres were never of a matter of preference. It's just a matter of a battlefield. Because of being in a household full of gamers, there was always some sort of competition. With my father, I had Ace Combat and Gran Turismo to compete with him against. With my
Nice.
brother, it was fighting games and amongst others. See who's faster at beating the Mario levels or stuff like that. With other
Jason,
genres.
my top 5 co-host, who again wasn't able to join us for that last one, he is a huge fighting game fan. So if you want to talk fighting games with him, I'm sure he'd love to do that.
That's good. I'll say one thing: Bloody Roar needs a remake. A remake needs to come back.
I remember
Bloody
that
Roar.
name, but I don't.
It's a fighting game from back in the day.
Yeah, I know I've never played it. I'm pretty sure I've seen like it in action, but not in person. Like I probably have seen it like on videos online, but I know I've never played it.
It's solid game. It's not like super hyper impressive, but the thing that set it apart, set it from like King of Fighters or was it Dead or Alive, was the transformations moments where your fighter, if you chose or you build up enough, you transformed into like a humanoid beast. Whether for one, it was a lion, a guy was a tiger, there was a bunny rabbit, there was also an insectoid that was supposed to be like some sort of crazy alien thing. It was good, a good fighting game. I enjoyed it. It was, yeah, fighting games were a blast. But the biggest one for my childhood would have to be Balls. Balls on the Sega Genesis.
I think I've heard of that one. I don't know if I'd recognize it if I saw it though.
There's so many people out there saw Balls and thought, "Oh, hey, a sports game. Okay, we'll take that." That's what my father thought. Didn't expect it to be a fighting game. Didn't expect us to be jumping on the couch. Me, my brother, standing next to each other, jumping on the sofa, trying to beat each other up in this game. Oh boy, did that game disappear fast. Oh man. Yeah, that's it. Well, back to what I was saying. The genres were always like a field of battle. Who owned that field of battle when it comes to when it came to like, again, some I mentioned, my father was the master of it. When in some genres, my brother was the master of it. For others, I was the master at it. But always appreciated. That was the thing that my father embedded about gaming, is that don't always try something out. Don't let genres or things like deny you from trying out a particular game or particular genre of game. Try the strategy guides, try the strategies, try the racing games, try the flying games, try the side scrollers. Why not? They're games. They're good games.
Yeah.
If you can get something out of them, then that's even better.
Okay.
That was crazy. Sorry, I'm going on this, but yeah, it was really my father. He wasn't big into video games as a kid, but when he grew up and he started seeing the elaboration that they were getting into in the 90s, he just understood that gamings are a medium to teach children. So long as you're responsible and are aware of what they're using or what they're playing, you can facilitate amazing intellectual growth out of a child just from giving them the appropriate video games.
Mhm.
Intelligent Cube. That was such a fun game back in the day. Just simple puzzle game.
That's one you talked about on top 5 last week.
Yeah, man. It was good. Yeah. Such an incredible game. And it just breaks down to the simplicity, but it was all, just puzzles, and working on the fly, having to survive that. Yeah, that's it. Blah, 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 blah. Games are great. Love games. Video games are awesome.
That they are. So you said you do have a preference towards turn-based RPGs. Do you have a favorite turn-based RPG franchise?
I have to give it to the
If you were about to say Final Fantasy, Jason is also a huge, like, that's one of his top favorite franchises. Fantasy.
I will have to give it to Final Fantasy. They are as far as the West is concerned, they are the OG masters of turn-based RPG games. With like I said earlier too, Final Fantasy VII in particular was the reason why I was I was able to stay on the honor roll for throughout my entire educational career.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I'm curious how exactly those two things correlate.
It was out of obligation from my father. If I was The only way I was allowed to play Final Fantasy VII is if I read every single line of dialogue out loud. And I was what, 7, 8 years old at the time. So having to pull on these full on dialogues, full on discussions. Actually, my father and my grandmother or my uncle, they're sitting there somewhere listening to me play, saying all the words out loud. It allowed me to expand my dictionary at an age that normally shouldn't get so expansive. And it also allowed me to enunciate better, uh, read and speak aloud a lot better. And it also allowed me to have a knack for spelling. I don't know, I was just
Okay.
picking up on the words, seeing it, even though, yeah, it was direct Japanese, it was still good English. It was still good English.
Okay,
But,
that makes a lot
but
of
yeah,
sense.
with the mixture of that and yeah, it gave me the opportunity to just ace English class and be able to elaborate further and when doing essays and stuff, having a far bigger vocabulary to deliver what I want to say.
Okay, very nice. Um, what was I just going to
Well,
ask?
I gotta say
Oh,
this: the real time strategy, real time RPGs, they're still just as good. It's just just out a matter of taste when it comes to the combat system.
yeah. So, have you played the Final Fantasy VII remake?
Yes, I haven't played Rebirth. I did play the first remake.
First one, okay.
When it comes to that game in particular, it's a bit of a long story on that because the game the game is beloved by so many, and they just wanted to have a remastering, a retelling of the same story, exactly how it was, but it unfortunately became a reboot, remake kind of thing where they added in more, amped up the scales, gave a little more of a, I guess, fourth wall breaking plot to it because it started becoming more self aware. Basically, the original story was uh, alien comes to the planet. Uh, Scientists use genetic materials from alien to create human discovers truth, becomes evil, wants to blow up the planet. There we go. When it comes to the story with the remake story, it turned into a multiverse
Okay.
where the characters in the remake, the Whispers of Fate, at least for me, even to this day, I see them as a representation of people like myself who were always wanted the game to stay true to the lore and not touch anything with it. Don't blemish it with anything. Just keep it as pure as it was. They this with these Whispers to say, I don't know if you've ever played the remake.
Not
Final
yet,
Fantasy.
but I may at some point.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it for you because but once you play it, you'll realize it when I tell you that it's supposed to be a representation of people like myself. And that was very insulting for me personally to see that come up. So I just, it's aggravating. But the game is great. The stories are good. The story's still darn good. The characters are further fleshed out and far more elaborate than what we fall what we fell in love with back in the day. So to have them become far more elaborate to what we love about them, it's hard to say that it's not. It's they suck. It's hard to say that they suck compared to the original because they're just a further elaboration of what they were. And it's I don't know, blah 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 blah. I'm getting a little mush mouth. It's been a long day, I'll tell you that much.
All right. So the other thing I was going to ask you is between the original Final Fantasy VII and the remake, do you prefer the original?
I definitely prefer the original because the original doesn't piss on me.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right. Well, that's we're just about 2 hours now. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to call it?
No, we can keep going. Yeah, still
Okay.
babble about a few things.
All right.
What?
That works for me.
Yeah, the Final
You're a few hours
Fantasy
ahead of
games.
me, so I will. If you need to get to bed, I totally understand.
Appreciate it. But yeah, I do have to say, it wasn't like it was just 7 Final Fantasy 7. I had 8, had 9, had 10. Didn't get 12 though. But yeah,
Oh, that
with the Final Fantasy
12. No, I was thinking of
Zodiac.
11. 11's the MMO, right?
Yeah, 11 was the MMO. I did not have a PC or or the
PS2
the patient
modem.
father who would pay that money a monthly for an MMO game. Oh boy, no, 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 no. What did I buy an Xbox for? Play on that. Are you go play on Xbox? Oh yeah, play on the Xbox Live. Oh yeah, do you remember what we had before Xbox Live? The
Oh.
internet LAN systems.
Well, I was going to mention this while we were talking about Halo, because me and all my Halo buddies, what we did, there was a system called, um, it was Xbox Connect, but it was the CONNECT, the way you normally spell it, not the Connect, the peripheral, and that allowed us to connect our Xbox to our computer and trick it into thinking it was on a LAN, so we could actually play online against. Before Xbox Live existed, you go and play games online against other people. So we did that to play Halo 1 online. That was a lot of fun, but sometimes
the
the
exact
lag was
system I was about to
awful.
bring up.
So I had a feeling that's probably where you're going with that. I was going to bring that up earlier when we were talking about Halo, but I totally forgot.
Yeah, that for me, that was my first experience with online play. Was that exactly that? Playing LANs, looking for games, just clicking on Halo and seeing all these different lobbies pop up. Okay, click on that. All right, LAN, sign up. That was good stuff, man. And it was free online play without actually being online play.
Yeah,
which was really cool.
That was great. So, all right. Well, then, the next topic I usually like to fall back on is what was the if there was a specific game that you remember that got you into gaming. So for me, my grandparents got me a Super Nintendo for Christmas back in 92 or 93. I don't remember what year it was. And it came packaged with Super Mario World. So that was the first game I ever owned. And that's where my journey to be into becoming a gamer started. So curious if you've got, what got you into gaming essentially?
What got me into gaming? I was a gamer for as long as I can remember, maybe 4 or 5 years old.
You mentioned your brother. Is your brother older than you?
No, he's the exact same. He's the exact same age to the very minute. He's my twin.
You're twins. Okay.
Oh, to the hour. Not to the minute. That'd be wild. Oh wow.
Okay.
It'd be wild for my mom to pop up too in a minute. Oh boy. Impossible. But yeah, it's with my brother and myself. I don't know. It's just even at our earliest of ages, we always had a gaming console at the house, be it a Nintendo or a Sega. We had it.
What was the first one you remember?
Oh, the first game I remember.
Or console.
First console I remember was my father's Atari.
Atari 2600. Okay.
Yeah. That's sitting alongside on the right under the TV. That was the first that I can ever remember. But then with that, Nintendo.
I don't think I've ever played an actual physical Atari 2600. I played Atari 2600 games like emulated or remakes or remasters or whatever, but I don't think I've ever actually played an actual physical Atari 2600.
You can feel like, at least for me, when I played it, you can really feel like the console and the controller was from a different generation entirely.
That's the one that just the controller was just like the black box with the joystick with the red button on top, right?
Yeah, and you had another red button on the side of the base of it too. But yeah, that was essentially it: 2 buttons and a joystick. And also on the original, that wasn't the the button phone, the phone controller that they had, which was like 8 buttons. That was it. It's like it looked like a smartphone, honestly.
Really?
The way that was.
No, that
Or it looked no. It looked like a telephone with what it was. And there was like these dials, just one dial on it with a bunch of buttons. It was the original controller for it.
I think I know. Yeah, with the dial on, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that.
Once
before.
I mentioned the dials, people start recognizing it. Yeah, it was the first, at least first. Yeah, it was it first. As far back as I can remember, always had some sort of gaming console or gaming platform in the house. So I always was a gaming fan, but I guess the best choice, I guess an easier question to answer would be whether it be the first game I ever beat. That would be
Okay.
McDonald's Treasureland Adventure.
McDonald's. What was that on?
Oh, that was on the Sega Genesis. It was
Genesis.
an
Okay.
actual McDonald's official product where you played as Ronald McDonald, running around in this treasure island, picking up pieces, and you eventually go up into space. You you go meet an alien thing. It was just absolutely wild, but it was one of those unforgettable games. But
So,
yeah,
it was a side-scrolling platformer, I assume.
yeah, side scroller platform, much akin to like Sonic, but and with a little bit of a like a just its own like unique like mechanic where it was like an arm, a reach out arm you'd stretch out to grab on, basically what basically snap hook onto lines and such like that. It was yeah, it was different. It was
Okay.
McDonald's trying to make a game, and it was its own original story too. So it was like it was interesting.
One of my favorites, kind of like low effort, non AAA mascot platformers from back in that era was the 7 Up game, Cool Spot. Do you ever play that
Oh,
one?
I haven't played it, but I do remember it. I remember more of the Pepsi Man games.
Okay, I know of the Pepsi Man game, but I never like saw anyone play it or play it myself. But one of my friends had the Cool Spot game, and I borrowed it. I don't know if I ever beat it, but I will go back and play it. It's in my backlog of games to play for retro achievements, so I look forward to playing that at some point. So, oh, so were you more of a Sega kid then, or
Yeah,
was
I'd have to say not out of choice, but eventually just had the Sega Genesis. But once PlayStation came around, Sony guy, right up
okay?
until the next generation. Then I got all three.
Yeah, so I was a Nintendo kid. Like I said, I got Super Nintendo for Christmas, and then a few years later, I got an N64 for Christmas from my grandparents again. I ended up getting GameCube on launch day. I got Wii on launch day as well. Never got a Wii U, but I did get a Switch. Not up until recently, it was last year because I got it in 2024, but now it's 2026. It's now almost 2 years ago. But around the era of the GameCube, Xbox era, I went mainly PC. Although I did have a GameCube, I did most of my gaming around that time on PC, and then after a few years later, once that PC was not powerful enough to run anything, which is actually this PC right here is the first one I built back in my freshman year
Oh,
of
wicked.
high school. It doesn't run anymore, but I do still have it. But then I went back to console gaming, and I went since I became my console of choice was Xbox, and that's because of Halo. And then when 360 came out and they introduced achievements, I got hooked into achievements. So Halo got me into Xbox ecosystem, but the achievement system is really what kept me. So I've been, if a game exists on multiple platforms, the number one platform I want to play it on is Xbox, and then I'll go to other platforms to play it if it's not on Xbox because achievements. So I've been an Xbox gamer for the most part since then. So it sounds like you were a Sega kid and then went PlayStation for
Yeah,
the
it was
most part.
bit of a mixed bag on mine. Didn't no rhyme or reason to it. Went from Sega, PlayStation, then I had got PlayStation 2 first, then an Xbox, then the GameCube. So I had all three. But then once the next generation came around, both parents were like, "Nope, we ain't buying you all three again. Pick one, and you're sticking with it." So we went with 360.
Okay,
So yeah,
good pick. That's my favorite console ever.
oh, it's peak gaming out of that. My goodness, and the balance, how the the dashboard was, and you also didn't have to yeah, you had to pay for Xbox Live, but everything is so beautifully streamlined.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
love that
that
old classic.
era, because 2007, in my opinion, the best year in gaming of all time, and will never be surpassed. There've been lots of good years, but nothing like 2007, where like every single game was like top
Bang,
tier.
banger after banger. That whole year is just amazing. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But yeah, after that, went on the 360, had my 360 for years on end. But it was about 2013 I got picked up a PC of my own, and if I wait, I'm trying to remember this right. Yeah, picked up my PC, then discovered MechWarrior Online, and that was it. Hooked. Saw it online. It was like, what? what? Mech Warrior?
Oh,
And it was like,
speaking, I forgot to ask while we were talking about Mech Warrior at the beginning, but Mech Warrior 5, because that actually came out not that long ago. Did you play Mech Warrior 5?
oh yes, I have too many hours into Mech Warrior 5.
Okay,
I've,
so
it's
my
my
next
one.
question was going to be is what are your thoughts on it, whether you like it or not? So it sounds like you do like it.
I thoroughly impressed with it. I can't speak anything on the DLCs which are numerous. If I remember right, there are 6 or 7 fleshed out like actual like expansion DLCs into the game. But overall, it was a good game. Unfortunately, I will always admit that I have a hard bias when it comes to Mech Warrior games. I will always love them and enjoy them. And when it comes to the core mechanics of Piranha Games' Mech Warrior games, they have nailed the mechanics of controlling the mech down to a T. It may not feel like it was in Mech Warrior 3, where everything felt weighted and like actually like felt like you were in a 50, 100 tons of steel. It feels a little more like little little more it feels too mobile to be like that, but they do a very good job at bringing it to as close as they can while not making it feel like it's not BattleTech when it comes to the combat, the balancing, how to approach and engage, and how the AI functions too. It's pretty good. It's not easy for for games like that to make their basic what's essentially tanks to be effective killing machines and to be always a challenge while still giving that fun factor. It's not an easy balance to take because once things get to a certain threshold of difficulty, it just you get torn to shreds, because their auto lock system. I'm going into the nitty gritty of it. Let me slow down. I'm sorry, but overall, it is the story it is decent enough. It's feasible. What really the stories in the DLC are a lot more fleshed out, a lot more elaborate, better reminiscent, and also brings in OG lore characters, which is always good.
Okay.
MechWarrior 5 Mercs it's good, but get it on a sale.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
unless you find yourself like completely in love with the game mechanic itself, it's not worth the full price.
okay. So like I said, I'm an Xbox guy, so I've pulled it up here, and there's two. They're both $30 full price. But my next question was going to be, what is the difference between MechWarrior 5 Clans and MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries?
MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, you're getting that same experience that you gotten from MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. You played which one did you play? MechWarrior 4 or
Yeah.
MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries? Okay, the original MechWarrior 4.
What? Oh,
MechWarrior
there were two different versions.
Yep, you had MechWarrior 4, which was the streamline, which was the linear story that you played, where you played as a prince of Davion, if I remember right, prince of a particular planet, going back to his home to liberate it from the House Steiner. You,
Um,
if you remember the blonde guy, you played as this blonde protagonist. That would be in 4. MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries is more of the open world experience where you're cruising around in the galaxy looking for missions and jobs to do while upkeeping your mechs. Whereas
which one is that?
that that would be MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries.
Oh, okay. No, I did not play that one.
Okay. When it comes to when it comes to MechWarrior 5 Mercs, MechWarrior 5 Clans, MechWarrior 5 Clans is your linear story-based MechWarrior game where you're
Okay.
following a particular set of missions in a particular order. You have they give you resources and you have to allocate and use those resources as you see fit as accordingly. With the MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries game, it's open world. You're basically just going out doing your own thing, or you can follow in through the storyline, go out flying out throughout the galaxy, picking up missions wherever there's wartime operations going on. Like it'll show on the map certain sections. You go there, buy whatever you want from the shops. It's more like like I said, it's more of an open world where you're more managing your squad, your company, and your ship and everything that keeps you alive and going into and to make money. Go and do jobs.
Okay, because gotcha. I'm glad. Yeah,
Yeah.
glad that
The
you brought that
long
up,
story
'cause-
short, You want your linear story, go with MechWarrior 5 Clans. You want to have your open world sandbox, you go with the mercenaries.
Okay, because I use a website called GameShelf. Shout out to GameShelf. I'm good friends with the developer for logging my entire game library, and I put MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries as in it, but because I just typed in MechWarrior 4 and that's the first thing came up, so I added. I didn't realize there was multiple ones. So because the base version, I guess you'd call it, the subtitle on that was MechWarrior 4 Vengeance.
Yes.
That's the one that I had because that's the one where the expansion was Black Knight, and I had that expansion as well. So I need to fix this. So I have this game wrong in my library, and I'm glad that this brought it up so I could correct this. So I'm glad that came up. So I have the wrong one in here, so I'm going to fix that. So
okay. My bad. I should have said Vengeance.
No,
MechWarrior 4 Vengeance. Yes, that is the proper fourth. But MechWarrior 3 is really, really good. It's a Operation Bulldog. You're fighting back against the clans, playing it good. Yeah, it's good fun on that one. And that MechWarrior 3 for a lot of people is the one that you feel the most in a battle mech, as the original lore and the original creators of the show intended it to be. Heavy, weighted, and every shot that you make with your guns feels like weighted. If you get hit by a high caliber weapon, you get knocked onto the floor and have to get yourself back up. That it's all automatic on that, but still all those things actually like gave weight, gave gravitas to the mechs. But and on top of it, with the camera angles on that, when you're in a pilot seat, it's not easy to do. And unfortunately with MechWarrior 4 Vengeance and all the other ones, even the PGI ones, they still feel a little more like you feel like it's far more, I guess, how you feel like you're moving far more effortlessly than you would in MechWarrior 3. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
There's, flow is a lot easier, but whereas with MechWarrior 3, it was weighted, it actually feels like Western mechs are supposed to be, like walking tanks. Whereas with Eastern mecha, they always seem to go with that ballerina dancing kind of attitude. Everybody's
just gonna ask you. That was my next question because I haven't played a lot of mech games, but like I said, I'm a big fan of sci-fi. So like just mecha in general has always been fascinating. Giant robots, like that's freaking awesome. So I was gonna ask you. I haven't played any of these games. I was gonna ask you about Armored Core if you played any of those games.
I've played one. I've played the first one. I've played Masters of Arena. I've played 2. I played 9 Ball. Played 3. 4 Answer. I played 5 as well. I've played just about all of them, and I mad respect for them. And I do knock on the Eastern mechas and stuff, but I love Eastern mecha all the same. I just have a high preference for Western mecha because we don't have enough of that. They the weebs outnumber us.
That's true. There's a lot more of these like fast-paced mech games, which I have nothing against. Like I said, I've barely played any mech games, but I do want to play Armored Core 6 at some point because it looks really awesome.
It's wicked good. The games are thoroughly great, and they do a great job in telling a story that they tell with that in Armored Core, because the universe is completely like led and ran by corporations and companies, and it's always seems to be like this. There's always some sort of proxy war going on between each other, in which your character seems to fall into a lot often, playing in an Armored Core. Yeah, I love Armored Core games. They're great. I would also I don't know, you're not a big fan of the RTSs, so I wouldn't say the Front Mission series would be an appealing one for you. As another mecha game of Eastern of the East. It's very similar to Armored Core, as in with mech designs, but it's a straight up real time turn-based strategy, chessboard style.
Turn-based strategy, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of good mecha out there. Heavy Gear is another good one.
I don't even think I've heard the other one you mentioned when you said Frontline, right?
Front Mission.
Okay,
yeah.
I've heard of that. The one that you just mentioned just now, what was that one?
Heavy Gear.
I've never heard of that one.
That's an older one. It actually had a TV show come up for it too, but I think it was like late 90s, early 2000s. It was Heavy Gear was basically an arena style thing where teams would go into would fight into an arena, go up against each other and such. At least that was the a smaller aspect of it. It was basically mech warfare, just different fight between military factions or corporations. I really don't know this one as much as the as other mechas, but I do remember the TV show that came out for it, and that was both amazing and awful at the same time. It was when CGI was when fully rendered CGI was still trying to be used, but it wasn't quite right. It wasn't quite right, but they still tried doing it.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the era you're talking about is my favorite show as a kid was Beast Wars. Is that what you're talking about? That style?
Maybe, yeah, around that era. At least with Beast Wars, they knew what they were doing. Mainframe Studios knew exactly what they were doing because they created the program for it. They were the guys who made Reboot, if I remember. Yeah, they were the guys who made Reboot
as well.
They started from scratch.
I only saw a few episodes of Reboot, but I watched Beast Wars as much as I could.
You got the whole series on YouTube. It's worth it. It's the greatest thing. Other than season 1, all of Reboot is like it's for a mature audience.
I'll have to do that because I've actually been very slowly, but I've been rewatching through Beast Wars. I'm almost at the end. I'm like 2/3 of the way through season 3, and there's only 3 seasons. So, because like I never watched every single episode as a kid, because just the times and stuff it came on. So I was never able to always catch it. But I caught bits and pieces of the overall story, but I never got the whole thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go through and watch it from beginning to end. So I've been doing that very slowly. But I'm almost done with it. So once I'm done with rewatching Beast Wars, I'm going to rewatch Beast Machines, and then maybe I'll give Reboot a full watch through since I never actually saw that in its entirety.
It's good. That's a series near and dear to my heart as a Canadian. It's all made in Canada, all that, and all the story behind it too. And
Enzo Matrix. I did not know it was made in Canada, and 2, I did not know you were from Canada.
Yeah, I'm a hoser. A little with a little dash of frog in me. Quebecois. Okay. Being part French here. That's what we call the nickname. Yeah, the slur here for Frenchman is frog. And for the Quebec, for the Frenchmen here, they call all the Englishmen squareheads or blockheads.
Blockheads.
Yeah, hostie de bloc. But yeah.
You were saying something about Reboot though.
Yes, with the Reboot, and my favorite character of all time, Enzo Matrix. You basically follow
Matrix, you say. That's my favorite movie of all time. If you hadn't guessed.
Hey, good movie, but yeah, I think it was kind of reminiscent, like with the Reboot franchise was a lightning in a bottle, and nobody else had done it before, and it was they created a story that was both open for children to understand and enough for adults and parents to really engage with, something that they can really boggle the brains with.
Basically a lost art these days.
Very much. And it's amazing. You look back in those days, it was like we had that in spades. And nowadays they can't even like, they don't even know the difference between men and women these days in the show. So let alone.
It's great when they had another one that I caught bits and pieces of it back in the day, but another one show, old cartoon I'm going to go back and rewatch here soon is Batman the Animated Series, where it is a kids show, but it's got like not adult content, but more adult themes to it. It's a bit darker, and it's like made for kids, but something that adults can also really enjoy. And that's something that no one seems to know how to do anymore.
That's it. The fascinating thing about Batman the Animated Series, it never treated the kids like kids. It treated everybody who watched it the same way, and it was a very mature story too. Like just thinking about some of the stories, like one story where the prison guard or everybody in Arkham Asylum were afraid of this one particular prison guard, and they wouldn't speak up. Like, I forget the name of the episode, but like even Harley Quinn wouldn't even like say anything against him. It took a lot for them to finally like burst out and finally like admit that he was wrong, he was evil, and he was doing a lot of bad things to them, abusing them, even though they're in asylum, they're being rehabilitated. And it was just this aspect of like a guy, he's being a villain to the villains. He's a villain, but he's just he's doing a lot what a lot of people would feel like would be the right thing to do, lash out that emotion, hit him back, but it's justice because this guy is a criminal. He's insane. And it just, I don't know, for me, it kind of stuck with me as a kid that you got to think, you got to look at things differently. Are you right? Is it right for you to exact that vengeance or exact that justice, or to dictate what that justice should be?
Yeah. Yeah, it's another thing. I was never big on Star Trek, but I know that I did watch a little bit of Next Generation back in the day, and they did a great job of, presenting moral quandaries, but letting you kind of come to your own conclusion. But from what I hear nowadays, it's like, if you don't think this is the right answer, then, you're wrong. It's like, so how far the apple has fallen from the tree, essentially.
Yeah, it just goes to show how much. Yeah, it just goes to show how much changed in the rooms that used to make these great stories. The new blood has kicked out the old blood, and they deemed the old blood as inferior, obsolete,
Yeah.
and no longer, now they're starting to realize that maybe it was a lot far more time. Their stuff and their principles were far more timeless than the principles that they currently hold.
Yeah,
These
one of my
newcomers.
favorite franchises that has so far remained relatively untouched until just recently got announced that they're bringing it back is that right there, is Stargate. It's getting rebooted,
Oh yeah.
and we're all very cautiously optimistic because of just, the reputation that Hollywood has right now of just basically ruining everything that's classic. But
Didn't they bring back a lot of the old crew, a lot of the old original crew too?
exactly.
Core creators,
Basically,
yeah.
all of the behind the camera people who were involved back then are involved now. So it bodes well that it could be good. And we're all just like crossing our fingers, like, please don't suck. So I'm
Holding
very,
out for you guys.
very excited to see what happens. I just hope that it doesn't, ruin my love for the franchise like, Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, Disney just absolutely obliterated that franchise. But I'll be honest, I will always have a place in my heart for the core values that made me love Star Wars in the first place.
Yeah, it's like modern Star
the
Wars is dead, but I'm still a huge fan of Star Wars.
Yep.
You can go back, the EU is so massive. There's so many books, and the vast majority of them are great books. And there's, so many good video games. I never really got into the comic books, but there's tons of comic books. So there's just so much content that's still, that's timeless. That'll always be great.
If I remember right, one of the comics, at least the recent one, was Dark Empire, if I remember right.
That
Wicked
is already 20 plus years old, but yes, that
was my
it's a bit divided on people's takes on Dark Empire. I liked it. I haven't read it in its entirety, but I know the gist of it. And I remember going to someone's house as a kid, and they had the hard. I think they had it in hardcover, and I kind of flipped through it, and I'm like, this is when I was still just learning about Star Wars, but I was like, this is really cool. So I do want to get a copy of it myself someday. But yeah, that's basically the return of Palpatine, but it actually explains how he came back, not just somehow he returned.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that that like Luke fell to the dark side. And Han had to go rescue him. So that was really cool. So yeah, Dark Empire, like I said, I haven't read it in its entirety, but the overall plot I think is really cool. So
it worked. No, it worked at the time, and it's reason. There's a reation why it's heavily compared to the to the Disney trilogy. They tried with Rise of Skywalker.
Should do it.
Yeah, they did it right. Why are you regurgitating? Oh my God, Kathleen Kennedy was coming up. We don't have comics or references. Oh my God,
that
books.
boiled my blood so much. It's like
all franchises to say this about.
One of the biggest franchises in entertainment history.
the one of the longest arms beyond the movies, like the comics, the story, just the stories all over the place. Every other form of medium. Freak the Shadow of the Empire.
It was a
That
whole
entire
multimedia
project.
project. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book, but I had the N64 game back in the day, and that's a great game. I'm pretty sure I put that in my top 5 Star Wars games when we did top 5 Star Wars games.
Yeah, that's it. Like 99% of the world played the game, knew nothing else about the Shadows of the Empire franchise. Dash Rendar, yeah, he was cool in the game. Oh, what? He's in other stuff?
Um, but well before the Disney acquisition even happened, I'd tell people, it's like, you can make a TV show about Star Wars. It doesn't have to be even about the main characters, just a TV show set in the universe of Star Wars, and you can have like an hour-long episode every day of the year with no commercials, and you could have that show run for near eternity. There's so much content you could make stories out of. And then she goes, we don't, this is kind of, we don't have, 800-page novels and stuff. It's like, we have 800 novels, much less 800-page novels. Like, what are you talking about, you idiot?
That's
So
insane. It was absolutely flabbergasting to see somebody at her position
and
who's
say
supposed
that
to
at the table right next to George Lucas. And then follow it up with saying that, we want to respect his legacy and his characters, and look what they've done with the place.
Yeah. It's a pigsty.
Yeah. So hopefully, yeah, I don't have any hopes of Star Wars ever being good again, but fortunately, we've got some of the greatest stuff in entertainment history, back in the day. But hopefully it'll get better, but I don't have high hopes for that.
Yeah, they're just gonna throw whatever they got at the wall and see if it sticks. Like what they're doing with this new spiritual successor to Star Wars Pod Racer.
Oh, Galactic Racer.
Galactic Racer that they got.
It looks Pod visually. Racer. Episode 1 Racer was a great game, so I'm cautiously optimistic that it could be a really good game.
Yeah, it could be for sure. I'm not holding my breath whatsoever on
exactly. This. So, is there a franchise like for me, like Stargate is a franchise that I really love and has yet to be destroyed. Hopefully that doesn't happen when they reboot it here. But do you have a franchise from back in the day that is still in good standing that hasn't been ruined yet?
No. Everything's been tainted. At least everything that's still relevant today has been.
Maybe this doesn't apply to you, but being a Genesis kid, were you a fan of the Sonic games?
Yeah, I was all right with the Sonic game. I wasn't a big fan of Sonic. Okay. I just liked Sonic 2.
Gotcha. Okay. So I was going to say the Sonic movies have been doing pretty good. I haven't seen Sonic 3, but I've heard that was good.
No, they're fantastic. I got to give it to them. They did an absolutely fantastic job. The smartest thing they did in the world was change that Sonic from the original. They listened to the fans,
listened to fan feedback, and it did very well.
And I get where they were coming from. They wanted to have this realistic texture in their CGI and to have it blend more into the real world. But we didn't care for that. We wanted to have our cartoonish Sonic as designed in the show, in the original cartoons, in the games. Have them look as close to that as possible. We don't have to have this hyper realism going on.
Yeah, it's funny because the somewhat recent Chip and Dale movie from 2023 or 2024, Ugly Sonic is one of the characters in that movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've heard. Yeah, I've seen that. I see that's at least the scene of it where he's just looking for any job whatsoever.
Yeah, they're basically, it's like this con, like Comic-Con, where a bunch of these characters have their own booths, and he's got his own booth as Ugly Sonic. So
that was smart. Well, at least they got something out of it.
Man, it's
just throwing out in the trash. But yeah, with the Sonic game, the Sonic movies are fantastic. Of all things, you wouldn't have expected that. You would have expected them to be a little more of a flop, but no, they really nailed the story well. It's people don't remember the story like it's the back of their hand for the most part, but they really did a very, very good job at keeping a lot of the core plot points that they they always had throughout the franchise's history, because they've had multiple iterations of Sonic with the TV show with DX, or maybe with the earlier TV shows. I remember there's one where he's got a brother and sister, and they're a trio band, if I remember right.
Oh yeah, the animated Sonic cartoon show from back in the 90s. I did
Yeah, it
watch
was more
that.
of a yeah, it was more of a instead of like the
I liked that
classic
show.
like the green zone, animals and the forest stuff kind of things that you saw in the games. It was this post-apocalyptic like world where Eggman was in charge, and it was just really interesting. Yeah, and Sonic plays guitar or something.
Yeah, so speaking of those video game cartoon shows from back in the day, like I did like the Sonic show. I didn't watch it that much, but the other one I also didn't watch much, but I did really love was the Mega Man cartoon show, because I'm a huge fan of Mega Man. It's one of my favorite franchises.
I'll be
And
honest, I thought you were gonna say Mario. I'd never heard of the Mega Man TV show.
yeah, I never saw the Mario cartoon show, but I do know that it existed. But I never saw that one. But it was the Mega Man cartoon that I really liked. But
Sonic Underground was the show that I was thinking of.
Oh,
Where-
okay. Thank you,
That's
Crazy
it.
Land.
Thank
Love
you,
Sonic
Crazy.
Underground. I don't know if that's the one that I was referring to, because I think it was just Sonic the Hedgehog was the name of the show that I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of, but
if the original, yeah, I think it was, if I remember right, it was called Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know about the Mega Man one, but there was also the Super Mario Brothers TV show.
are you
remember
Is
that?
that the animated one or is that the live action one?
The live action one,
Live
where
action
they
one.
well, what if I remember right, what it was live action, like it was.
Oh, was that
like
the
a
same
kid
show?
Yeah,
Like
it was
it
the
goes
same
back
show
and
where
forth?
they would have the live action go on, and then the cartoons would come up in between the segments with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was set up like Barney, or like Hilarious House of Frightenstein, where it was
I've
like.
never heard of that one.
Oh no, that's an old cut. That's actually
Is
a
that a Canadian
conglomeration between American and Canadian studios to make a TV show together.
Okay.
Hilarious House of Frightenstein with so many different. That's a rabbit hole. That is a rabbit hole, but you get the best of Vincent Price out of that.
Oh, that name I know.
Yeah, Vincent Price, he has a significant part of the Hilarious House of Frightenstein TV show where he speaks, he basically recites poetry. That's all he does, and it's so good. It is so good.
The reason why I know that name is because of Thriller.
You're
He
talking
did
Thriller, like as
Michael
in-
Jackson Thriller. Yeah.
Okay, Thriller Night. Yeah,
The demon dialogue at
intro.
the end of at the
His
end
laugh.
of the song.
and
That's
then
Vincent Price. So that's what I know him from.
he is a legend of old films, and also of the horror films. He was basically he was a legend before Christopher Lee came around and started becoming a legend of his own, if I remember right. Or they might have been around at the same time. That's further back than my memory can keep up with now. It's getting a little late. I'm getting worn out.
Yeah, and since like I said, I'm not big on spooky stuff, so I know that he is kind of a legend in that sphere, but that's just not something I was ever interested in. So, but on the topic of the cartoons, Sonic, and for me, Mega Man, and their Mega Man has been a mostly dead franchise, because like Star Wars, where we got tons of great Star Wars games, and then EA, the Disney bought Star Wars, and then EA got the proprietary rights to make Star Wars games. We got like 5 over the course of a decade, when over the course of like 2000 to 2010, we got like hundreds essentially. Mega Man, Capcom did the same thing with Mega Man. From like 2000 2010, we got I think we got like 42 Mega Man games, and then from 2010 to 2020, we got like 2 or 3. So it's basically been a dead franchise. So not too long ago, they announced a new game in the franchise, Mega Man Dual Override. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Curious, if you had to pick one basically dead franchise to revive, what would be a franchise you'd love to see get brought back?
Oh, I'd have too many to count. I have way too many to count, and a few of them are RPG or turn-based RPGs. But I'd have to go with 2. I really would have to go and just cram in a second one in there. Legend of the Dragoon on the original PlayStation.
Okay.
I would love to see become a remake story. and Xenogears.
Xenogears. Okay.
Yeah, that was that a mecha game, a mecha it's a turn-based RPG, but the story was so fascinating. It's just so mind-boggling, and it really left a strong impression. It's just a real shame that it just never came back up as a remaster or a port somewhere because it was such a great game.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have to be it. Legend of Dragoon and Xenogears. Those both need to have modernizations of them. It would be fascinating to see.
Very nice. I don't know anything about either of those franchises, but I do know of them. So, but all right. Well, we've gone a little bit longer here, and yeah, you're a few hours ahead, so it's getting late for you. And I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna go eat some dinner. So
Yeah,
we'll go
I
ahead
wake
and
up
wrap
for
it
work
up
in 5
here.
hours.
We'll go ahead and wrap it up here. And it was great having you on Open Mic, the first one to bring it back since August, and we're gonna getting back in the swing of doing this almost every Thursday. So I'm glad you could join me. Thanks for coming on and we getting to talk a little bit more in depth rather than being so stuck to this kind of the more strict schedule of an episode of Top 5. So yeah, it was great chatting with you. And what do you got going on that you want to shout out?
Well, I got something cooking. I'm trying to prep things up. I just haven't really said anything to anybody about it. I just wanted to have it done first. It's a long project that is well overdue. On basically, I'm giving my channel an upgrade. So
Oh, okay.
hopefully, once that gets settled, I can get back on track to do regular things. But you can usually find me over at Gronking Gaming over at here on YouTube, hanging out with the boys. I'm usually doing what Sunday to Thursday. Sunday what schedule change Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. We talk about news. We watch about we check out things on the latest and greatest in the gaming world, and also just make fun of a lot of the craziness that goes on. Yeah.
Oh, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, but I just totally forgot because we were talking about it before the stream. I was going to ask you about some of the state of play stuff, but
Yeah, honestly, that's what I was expecting to talk about. What was the latest stuff going on in the games today? I didn't expect to go into a little bit of a backstory about my gaming history or my personal stuff.
because most of the stuff I do on my channel is all like not related to like stuff going on in the industry at all. It's just more talking about people's backgrounds. But since that did happen today, I was like, oh, we'll talk about that, and then I didn't write it down on stuff I want to talk about, and I completely forgot about it. So
All's good.
I didn't watch it, but I did see a bunch of posts on Twitter. So out of the little bit that I saw, I want to go. I'm probably gonna do it as soon as we're done here. Is go watch the gameplay reveal that we got of Control Resonant. So,
Yeah.
quick highlight: what you saw from the Sony State of Play. What are you most interested in?
What was it called? Blood Moon. I think it was the name. Crimson Moon. That was it.
Crimson Moon.
Crimson.
I've not even heard of that one yet.
That looks fascinating. It looks like it's turning out to be a Souls like, but more action oriented. I've been hooked on those games. I'm looking forward to it. There's a level of gothica and metal music for the background. Just right up my alley. That is exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay. Well,
And
I'm going to go look at basically the highlights to go and see what I missed.
the other one I'm looking forward to is a Project Windlist, which is actually supposed to be based on a South Korean fantasy story written in the 2000s. Apparently it's a big hit. So looking forward to that. You play as a giant humanoid chicken slaying people like it's Dynasty Warriors. It is like you'll watch it. It'll blow your mind. You'll want to pick it up too, I'm sure. But yeah, I'll say this: when it comes to the state of play, don't believe in the hyperbole. It's decent, maybe a mixed jag for a lot of folks. And I think what the biggest grievances a lot of people are really having is that they didn't get what they wanted out of it. Like for a person like myself, what I wanted out of it, I wanted to see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 announced and giving us a date, and gameplay trailer for Ace Combat 8. I got neither of them. So, but a lot of people are like, LL, most disappointing. It was over an hour long. We got a huge variety of games, and even though it didn't satisfy didn't seek to satisfy every single individual. It gave us a grand abundance and didn't give us like half a huge segment for one game and the rest just get scattered in, given 5-10 seconds of spotlight. No, they've been learning. The Sony has been learning from the mistakes from the past state of plays.
Okay. Yeah, the little bit that I saw from just a quick scroll through Twitter, it looks pretty impressive. A lot of stuff looked interesting. So I'll have to go and take a little bit deeper look into it all and see what, if any of it, is going to be coming to Xbox, or a lot of the stuff that PlayStation does that doesn't come to Xbox will go to Steam. So maybe that's where hopefully a lot of it will come there, so I'll be able to play the stuff that I'm interested in. So, but yeah, so I do have the link to your channel in the stream description, but I can also add the one to Gronkin if you want after the fact. So,
you just throw it up into the chat link. That's fine enough for me.
So I don't have that one handy. So
I've got it then.
If you want, you can drop it in the private chat here, and I'll drop it in chat. And while you're doing that, I will give a quick rundown of my schedule. So this time will be the last for this week, as my usual schedule is Monday through Thursday. But I will be back on Monday, just like this Monday. It'll be a little bit of a later stream, but I'll be doing Metroidvania Monday on Monday nights. And I will be continuing my playthrough of Islets. And you were able to drop it in chat. Interesting.
Well, the link's not active on my end, but
okay. It looks on my end, it shows up as a hyperlink.
Oh yeah, it'll come up on the
maybe
on Restream. It'll come up.
So I'm dropping the link, an actual clickable link. Here's the link. Dropping that in chat now. So that should be clickable, and you can go follow them over there. But yeah, so I will be back with some more Islets for Metroidvania Monday on Monday. And then Tuesday, we should be doing our next episode of Top 5. And then Wednesday, we should be returning over on Carl's channel for the next episode of Backlog Battling. And then I'll be back with another episode of Open Mic next Thursday. So, but yeah, John Connors, had a great time chatting with you. And I'm definitely going to have to get you on for a party chat here sometime in the near future. So,
yeah, it was great. Looking forward to it, man.
So thanks for coming here and just chatting video games with me. That's the whole idea behind my channel, just talking video games, and this stream particularly is just for having an open-ended conversation. So thanks for coming out and having a great conversation with me. And so everyone in chat, thanks for hanging out. I see Nightmares there, and Crazy Landlow still there saying good night. You guys all have a good night. We will see you later. And as always, in the meantime, game on.